Brand has got to get taken off the table against this guy. You got to give the respect. Brandon and Nivea likely will not see the light of day here for ANX.
Yeah, I really like these target bans here, and it doesn't hit H2K themselves. That's the beauty of these bans. You ban out Brand, you don't lose any of your own champions in that regard. Taking the Poppy off the board is strong because she has proven to be a very solid foundation that top lane can build on. Yes, you get a small CS deficit, but it's so useful in TPs and so useful in engages.
Especially when you're expected to get a bit of a CS deficit, you can kind of get away with that. Poppy's always has a huge amount of utility, even from behind. And one thing that is kind of really nice for Licrit is the priority that's coming up on Zyra. Zyra has shown itself as a top-tier pick, and this is a guy who loves AP support, loves Brand, and Zyra being available, something they could go for.
We gotta see the Caitlyn ban come out here. The counterpart Jhin banned out.
Wow.
So this is actually quite peculiar that ANX is leaving it open. This could just be the Caitlyn early rotation here, first pick for H2K. There are some other power picks available. You know, there's the Elise for the jungle position. There's some strong mid laners in the Syndra and the Aurelion Sol, but H2K may just value that Caitlyn pick so much that they will forgo the Syndra and have Ryu counter it if Albus NoX picks it up early.
And we've seen teams do it already, but Nidalee, Ryze, canning were ANX's ban, so very standard for them as well. No target bans required on the side of H2K. They are taking their time, though, with their first pick, because, like you said, Crepa, a lot of top-tier champions open, and all of a sudden, Zyra, Caitlyn have kind of been added to that list as well.
And it's almost one of those things when the Caitlyn gets left up, it almost feels like it's a bit of a bait because they want to try to take away two power picks. You talked about Syndra, you talked about Aurelion Sol. Zyra has been very high priority. These are champions where you take two of those, you probably feel pretty good about giving over that Caitlyn. But at the same time, Forgiven has played it 5 out of 7 times, and it's, wow, it's going to be Jace.
The narrative completely changes. We had our eyes on strong mid lane champions. We had our eyes on lane dominance in the bot lane, but it's H2K that says, you know what, this pick that everybody questions, this Jace pick, we're just going to lock it in and play from the top lane. Odoamne has gotten a lot of praise by even international top laners that he's performing super well.
And to be fair, Jace has got a lot of criticism because it hasn't worked for North American teams. It's been working for everyone else. You know, North America was 0-4 on the pick. I believe it was 9-4 for the rest of the world. So this has been working out very well, just not for the NA teams. And Odoamne has definitely picked up some wins on it here too.
And we've started to see more of it in the knockout state as well, as that Caitlyn does get taken away by Miracle. It's kind of required. Olaf as well going to join Stehos in the jungle. So what H2K have for picks 2 and 3?
It does ask us the question, what is that Olaf going to be sped up by? Usually you see a Karma or a Sivir. Obviously, you know, Sivir since the Caitlyn is locked in. Are we going to see a relatively boring Karma for Licrit? It doesn't have much spice, it doesn't have much flair, but it is a strong pushing lane. And H2K's early game strength revolves entirely around pushing in and winning all 3 lanes, and that's why they're going for the Zyra support so early. They really want to lock in that lane dominance.
Works very well with Lee Sin here also, because you're aggressive, you have this jungler that can stay out on the map for so long, excels at diving, excels at bullying out these lanes, and we're going to see what they do.
I'm so surprised that Lee Sin wasn't a Syndra pick, though. Complete misread on that. Many teams are fighting for Syndra first pick left and right, and then this gets left up until the second rotation, purple side. Obviously, this is a game 1 of a best of 5. H2K are considered the better team, and they have room to test ANX out, to feel the game.
And I think part of it is because Vladimir is still available. Vladimir is kind of that safer pick against the Syndra. Bard going to get locked in here for Licrit. Definitely a playmaker.
Super fun matchup with Zyra as well. You can actually use her plants against her to proc double stunts that she doesn't expect here. It's very hard to play though, so we'll have to keep our eyes on Licrit because this matchup is quite difficult depending on what Forgiven ends up going with.
And Syndra, of course, are locking for Kira. Very safe pick. You mentioned Vlad. We could see that, but Kira's going to be happy with the aggression. I love that also Licrit's happy to give over to Zyra. He was one of the only players, I believe, during Zyra bans in week 1. He's like, that's his other champion if you join the brand and the Bard. So he's happy to play against it. Teams are starting to pick it up, and Licrit's like, oh, I did all this research already. I already know how good this is.
And although people talk about Licrit, about the brand, about the Zyra, he played Tahm Kench, he smashed on that. He's playing the Bard now. This guy has flexibility. They can play a lot of different champions.
Yeah, and we're seeing the return of the Vladimir into Syndra matchup here. So H2K kind of going against their style, picking more for mid game, but definitely having some tricky lanes right here. If Forgiven and Vander can make it out with a CS lead in this matchup, they definitely overperform compared to the expected matchup. Forgiven, great CS, a great lane or wave manipulator, should be able to do it still, but it's a tough matchup due to the range advantage that a Caitlyn has over a Sivir.
It certainly is, and something that they're going to have to keep in mind is that Kira is going to have that push advantage.
Yep.
The Syndra can shove in Vladimir, although Vladimir may not die if you play well. You can push him in, you can roam to the side lanes, you can look for TPs with this Gnar, combine your ganks with the Olaf and try to kind of pile in and take advantage of some of these side lanes.
Yeah, but with these two drafts, you're looking at a very explosive mid-game here. Tons of action could unfold, especially around objectives. I'm definitely excited.
Well, teams love to fight, so I think we're going to see a lot of that in this game and this series in particular. Very standard, I will say, as far as picks go. I think Jankos and Odoamne are going to do a lot of work for H2K, getting their early game up. And of course, ANX have put power where they want it. Nice safe bottom lane. Liquid's on a playmaker. Kira's on a pressure champion. I think both teams get what they want here for the first game. And as the series develops, as is always the case, it'll be interesting to see kind of how these teams play out as the drafts continue.
Exactly. I mean, they're both two very strong drafts. It now comes down to play. And something I'm really going to be tracking in the early game is how these junglers do, because both of these guys have been massive as far as first blood participation for their teams. Jankos, every time he's gotten first blood, H2K has won. So that's something that you definitely have to track. Kind of so goes his performance, so goes H2K's performance.
Well, we'll have to see, but don't forget to vote on Twitter for the team you are supporting. Use the hashtag H2KWin if you're behind the EULCS people, or the hashtag ANXWin if you want the tournament darlings now at this point. Definitely the fan favorites. You can hear the crowd here in Chicago screaming every time Liquid is on screen. We'll see if his play can continue to inspire, or if H2K will just continue on that hot streak.
And there's so much to theorize about, so many matchups you can follow. I could talk to you for 10 minutes about this bot lane matchup, because so much is push central in terms of the lane. If you push the minions, suddenly your trades can be winning, but you have a hard time. Range advantage is so delicate. So I'm so excited to see how Forgiven and Vander approach this laning phase.
Certainly expected 2v2 to get things going.
Yep. Both teams going to be spreading out here, line of scrimmage to get things going. Standard starts, and it will be interesting to see how that top lane goes, especially because I do think that if Gnar can kind of get ahead, this is a guy who can become huge front line with the Olaf.
Yeah, and this is also a point of the game where we can look back and we can maybe describe H2K's general style, what got them the 4-0, and was based around winning lanes, and especially Ryu stepping up from as early as honestly, the 0 to 10 minute mark, not scaling into matchups, honestly putting so much pressure forward. But right now, H2K's both bot lane and mid lane have relatively tough matchups. So we need to see if they can alter their style and survive a weaker early game.
Bit of a face check there from Kira, but doesn't eat too much damage. Ryu will get a bit of poke off here. Like you mentioned, that's just standard stuff across the board as everyone's fanning out. Zara did go back early, but Vander's going to just run back to lane, should make it in time. And looks like no massively deep wards being played. So everyone should have about the expected amount of information here. And as always, early game's going to play a big factor for these two teams in particular.
It certainly will, and it's good that you did highlight Ryu, because he's the mid laner that actually spends the most time on his opponent's side of the lane, pushing in, and that's really what it enables Forgiven to play so aggressively in the bot lane. But this matchup, he will be struggling.
Yeah, look at this here. We see Camp start for a Miracle and Liquid, but they yield the access to the early lane here. Playing into H2K's hand, they get access to the wave early. Yes, there will be an experience lead, but look at Forgiven and Vander here. They really want to punish them for the camps. A double poke here. Not getting any CS. Miracle being zoned already here. And Forgiven, while he's down in experience, he has the push control. This is their favorite style.
It certainly is. Vander, a little bit of a mistake there, though, not using his Q early enough to actually proc the plant. Could have won that trade a lot more heavily, but now it just kind of have a Miracle at level 2. They're going to be fine. It's mostly about how much CS can they pick up without getting poked out.
But they're not pushing in, and if Caitlin's not pushing, she can't trade and use her range advantage to get uncontested poke onto the Sivir right now. Right now it's Vander and Forgiven approaching, going for early harass on the tower. And more importantly, the Olaf is pathing to the top lane. This is a point of the game where sometimes H2K overextend and they basically rely on summoners to make them out. They say, you know, we're going to get such a big advantage early that it doesn't matter that we have to flash. The advantage is already there. But with Steos pathing to the top lane, this is such a tough spot for the ANX bot lane.
And these early levels of why bot lane can be so intricate in the early stages, but like you said, junglers on the opposite side. Stehos quickly farming through the jungle on Olaf. We expect him to be up as far as clear goes, but if we do want Gnar to maybe get some leverage in this top lane, maybe Stehos is going to go there. And of course, the Twitterverse, much like the crowd, is behind ANX for this game.
And Odoamne has that early river ward. He's kind of expecting Stehos just to a full clear, top to bottom. A little bit of variation here from Jankos. He left up the blue buff. We'll see if he is going to try to get up top side, as that ward does still have some time on it. And should allow Odoamne to be okay unless he pushes up too much further.
And you said a little bit of a change-up, and if we went back to minute 2, I just checked, it was a fake leash from Gnar, so it's completely expected for this Olaf to be bot lane right now. Gnar leashed, bot lane did camp. Everybody expects
he's going to face
there
check
to be
the
no
Olaf.
Olaf here.
Yeah, because it's like, oh no, he is there! And Steos going to throw the axe in. Now the damage
Yanko's in
comes
so much
down,
trouble.
and he's doing so much damage. Next axe lands, acceleration gets poked about, flashed over, and now Steos is going to get aggressive. Oh, Jace takes him down, and now they're going to work on Smurf. Jankos is low. Smurf jumps on his head, but it's not enough as Odo looking for the early double kill. He is going to get it. There's 2!
Odoamne comes in swinging, knocks him down. So much early damage from the Jace.
And ANX, they had to pull back because the Jace was there so much faster. Smurf came in way too late. He's a level down. Oh, this was a great start. They could have just taken this and backed off. They could have pushed Odoamne out of lane. But look how further back Smurf is. He's not able to join.
Yeah, right there was the retreat mark there, but look at the damage, completely unexpected. Now Odoamne gets 2 kills and double buff. The setup was beautiful. It started with a fake leash by the Gnar. Nobody expected there to be an Olaf in that brush. You could see the surprise on Jankos' face right there, but right now Odoamne taking off. We talked about bot lane, mid lane, and pick and bans, but this guy really making that early Jace pick work.
There's really no champion worse to have double buffs than the Jace here. He can spam his spells, continuously poke you out, and he's going to be so strong. It's forcing Smurf to go for this early defensive build, which he really does not want to do. He wants to be building towards Frozen Mallet, Black Cleaver, something to contest him.
And you can see double armor items up early for Smurf, so Odo off to a flying start here in the top side of the map. H2K already up 1,500 gold. We did expect H2K's laners to get a lead, but top lane was not the one we may have been looking at.
Yeah, and mid lane is staying even CS here in an uneven matchup. Out of mana onto Kira, that's going to be at least 1 summoner, if not a kill.
Oh, Jankos in there with a Swifties. Kira misses the stun, and that's going to force a flash.
Yeah, gets the flash out.
Yeah, well done. I mean, Ryu uses 1 summoner, but it's a ghost, and trading that ghost for the flash is going to make Kira very susceptible for return ganks, especially once Jankos hits 6, Kira will still not have his flash, and he can look for that.
Yeah, and if you look at Jankos, he has a much higher jungle percentage, or near his lane jungle proximity rather with his laners. He doesn't have the efficiency that Steos has. Steos gets more games from it, but that's because Jankos plays more of a supporting role as well. Sometimes he just shows for pressure. He helps little skirmishes that don't necessarily translate into kills rather, but he's always there to support his lane. Super efficient jungler.
Now this gank pretty much has to work here for Steos. He's coming in.
Smurf's already chunked, and Odo's just going to bail. They spotted him. Steos, he does know the pink ward's there, but he's level 6 already, and Smurf just cannot compete as Jankos going to walk into the lane as well.
Yeah, and that's one of those moves from Jankos. It's not about getting the kill here, but he's just around to counter gank, always offering support, and then
They can set up the dive.
Oh, but he's diving. He goes in for it himself. That is a 1v1 solo dive as Odo pops up the flare.
That's what happens. You get a serrated Dirk, the double buffs that early, and now Stejos. There's no way he can hold safely here. They're going to push him in. They're going to be able to reset. Odoamne can go back and buy, and this guy is getting out of control. 20 CS up, 3 kills 6 minutes in. Who is going to handle the Jace?
And Snowball Lane, as we talk about them, we maybe looked at the Syndra for Ryu. Kira takes it instead. We look at bottom lane Forgiven, and the Caitlyn took the Sivir and gave it away. Odo on the Jace has been the big story early on, and the rest of the lanes are even. That's game plan going well for H2K.
Definitely. Jankos picked the lane, made his snowballs, and all these other lanes are just doing what they have to. They're playing losing matchups in both mid and bot lane, but look at the CS, bang on even in the bot lane. Ryu even getting some forward pressure already before the real breaking point in this matchup. No Spirit Visage yet, but the early magic resistance helped him pressure out Kira.
And even just forcing out Kira's flash means he can't really push in very much, so that winning lane, mid lane, well, what was supposed to be a winning lane, he's actually down CS now. He's losing there. Bot lane's going fine, and Odoamne is disgustingly ahead and going to keep looking for these trades.
Smurf can only hop so many times out of those trades as Odo just has so much early AD.
And this is where Odo wants to keep the wave kind of parked right there. Deny some creeps here, these range creeps, taking down some of the CS that Smurf so desperately wants. He wants to lure him in. Make it so that he at least has to overextend in the lane and gets chased down. But it's not freezing. Smurf is happy that this wave bounced back towards his turret, but he's being denied so much CS.
Bit of damage there. Kira with the blue buff. He's going to try and shove Ryu in a little more efficiently, but the early Spectre's Scarf from Ryu should negate most of that aggression that Kira can offer. And now Jankos is moving into the ANX side of the jungle, looking again towards top. He's going to spot a ward, finds Stejos. Goes around as Kira looks for the pick, doesn't get it. Good collapse from ANX, but Jankos mobile on the Lee Sin, able to get out very easily.
Was a good collapse, but once again, they're going to go for Kira. He has no flash. Jankos has kick. Is he looking?
Looking for it again. Kira, no, not going to eat the Q, and Ryu goes for the dive. Great little juke, but Liquid's here as well. No, he gets kicked back. into the grasping roots, and that will be the conversion. Vander picks one up.
Such a good follow there from Vander. He sees Lecrit missing. He's there to follow up, and although they can't convert on the kill on Kira, they pick up Lecrit.
And that's good communication by H2K. They select the target and they let it be known in team comms, which means again that the support can roam. And also look at the wave. It's continuously being parked at the enemy turret. This is Forgiven's favorite style with Vander. That's how they love to play. It all goes back to the level 1. They forwent the camp and they actually just went for the early push, unrelenting. They saw jungler top, they had the freedom. They're fine with going even CS here and they're outscaling in that matchup. And then Vander is allowed to roam and just assist in those mid lane fights.
Miracle doing what he can. He will scale, of course, but does not want to be pressed up against it like this. Vander even looking to get aggressive. Lecrit does return to lane, but he takes some damage there. Forgiving in a step forward. Miracle going to cover with his own Q, but again, H2K just pushing up all 3 lanes.
Yeah, and if you store 2 seeds, it's impossible for the bar to react because he'll just have his stun be eaten up by both plants right there. Or if you just put a plant far enough, so it's really hard for Liquid to play this matchup in the defensive. And again, that further illustrates the point why wave push is so important in this matchup. If Liquid doesn't have plants and creeps in front of him, he can go for the poke, you know, bar Q into trap, but that's completely negated because H2K played the lane much better.
And on top of the map pressure, on top of the CS, take a look at the turret's health in the bot lane. It's actually down below half already. They're well on their way to picking up that first turret, which can just further extend that gold lead, open up the map, which is how they love to play. They can get aggressive and start to take over the jungle.
And this is the side of the map that's not even having that many problems. Odoamne, just to remind you, is still 3-0, building in for a very early-looking Ghost Blade. You can see that CS difference building up. He's almost 25 up on Smurf, and even the individual gold lead, that is absurd for 10 minutes.
This is the largest gold somebody's been ahead from a top lane. 1,400, you know, just top laner versus top laner, the largest at World so far on a Jace pick, a pick that is inherently so snowbally in its nature. Oh, this is definitely a tough task for ANX.
It's so bad because it disrupts your opponent's build path too. You know, Smurf is essentially on the welfare build now.
Yeah.
He has to go tabbies. He has to just try to survive here. He can't actually build items. Like, when is this guy ever going to finish his Black Cleaver or his Frozen Mallet? Like, what, 30 minutes into the game?
And now ANX might be transferring some of their pressure towards another side of the map. Kira, though, in trouble as Jankos looking to hop in. Good flash from Kira, flash from Jankos as well. Still going, though. Forgiven, forced to pop the ultimate. Stales ulties in and runs towards them, but ANX, no kills coming down. Maybe they'll convert for a push or the Drake.
Yeah, and Jankos, he was so set on getting the kick flash off. He tapped both buttons. That's why he did the very minute flash, you know, very short distances, because any fraction of a second later, the kick would have actually worked. So that was a perfect flash from Kira, essentially trading Jankos' flash for it.
Still, good trade for Jankos as a jungler. You'll take that trade every time, and it means Kira, once again, has to be on the defensive. He has to be on the lookout, because there are ways to gank that lane very easily, even without your flash. Jankos can ward hop over the wall. If he gets up behind him, you're kicked in, you're dead.
Yeah, in about a minute, Ryu can just channel his E, flash in, slow the enemy Syndra. That's enough distance to do exactly what you described right there, Azale, and have Jankos close the gap.
H2K also only getting stronger. Have completed some items here and there. Ryu now looking for that blue buff. Does have that Spirit Visage built up already, so he is a bit behind in CS right now, but he should catch up easily. And he's effectively done what he needs to do. Neutralize the lane, play it safe, and scale towards the mid game.
And Albus NoX, Luna, they know they're behind. That's why we see when they run out of base, the jungler and support, they walk together, looking for any semblance of an opportunity. We saw Liquid move with PvP Stales. Maybe they can get a cheeky portal here and there. Tempered Fate is still on cooldown. That's their way back in. Tempered Fate into a pickoff, outnumbered, but it's so hard. When the mid laner has a pool you can dive into, bot laner has Spell Shield. Where are you going to find these opportunities if you're Albus NoX?
Well, Ghostblade also done for Jace, so looking good there. Forgiven, going with some early Berserker Greaves, so itemization looking just fine. Here again, trying to play up, does get a stun off, but Vladimir's just soaking this damage constantly.
He really is, and one thing going well for Kira, at least, he's keeping his farm up, and he can look for those opportunities in team fights. You know, Jace right now, he's not building an AMR. That's someone you can look at as the Syndra. If you can wipe this 3-0 Jace off the map right off the bat, or the Zyra, two very squishy champions, you can even the odds.
Yeah, just a hair short of hitting that stun onto Vander. If he was out of exhaust range, he could have gotten caught here. We're looking for an opportunity. He wants to burn the spell shield before he ulties.
Looking for the play, good spell shield, Forgiven with great patience. Doesn't get distracted by the meeps and will hold it for that Q. Miracle has a bit more breathing room, has gone back for the early Zeal now, so CF Swords kind of diverging a bit as far as build path goes, and it does feel like now ANX is starting to push the lane out, but H2K already did what they needed to do in the early part of the lane, so they're going to play it nice and safe, and Jankos He'll visit mid lane again, but just help Ryu push it out.
And H2K is now working heavily on the top lane turret as well. They're pushing in all the lanes, so there's all this gold that they're kind of working towards that they haven't reaped yet. Once they take out top turret, once they take out bot turret, that's where the gold leads can really start to balloon. And just look at these trades for Smurf.
Oh
There's nothing he can do to fight back.
Yeah, and just following the Lee Sin in the jungle for H2K as well. So efficient. Jumps mid, helps clear out the wave. Wave priority, gets the
They're
red buff.
looking to kill Smurf.
This is hard. Yanko's going to kick him in. Lands the Q. Smurf going to get attacked on. Does go mega. Wallets him over. No, into the wall as well. But that's just enough to get out. And that one hits, and Yankos just snipes him with a resonating strike.
Well played by Smurf to survive, but he gets taken down anyway. This means first turret blood for Odoamne. Likely going to be given that solo gold. This guy is going to be huge. ANX on the bot side are trying to take Dragon, at least get something back.
Yeah, Yankos again, you know, that pathing from mid lane to jungle to top pressure. Yes, they yield the Ocean Wake, but H2K don't care. They want raw monetary value right now. We're approaching the 15-minute mark, and they're already sporting a 4.5k gold lead. This is honestly impressive from H2K.
And so much of it is on the Jace. The Jace is closing in on hilarious levels of ahead. He's like 2,500 or 3,000 gold ahead now, and this is so well done. Odoamne knows his jungler wants to come top, so he's looking to trade aggressively early on.
Yeah, double pink wards on the mini-map. They even saw Lee Sin in the jungle, but at one point there's nothing you can do. You gotta overextend to maybe get some CS, some experience, because otherwise being afraid of the gank will cost you more than the gank itself. And then a couple nice things here. Perfect kick into Q. Smurf gets next to a wall, which means Odoamne's skill shot is perfect. He predicts the juke slightly, which puts him next to a wall. That means Q can't miss from the Lee Sin. So it's all these little things. And yeah, as you said earlier, Azale, bot lane turret at 30%, ready to fall.
It's just continued pressure. It's what H2K have been known for. And now Steos, hand in the cookie jar, has been caught in the enemy jungle, but will just get chased out. Does burn the ghost, but not the ultimate to get out there. But you can see Steos wants to get in and apply some pressure, but it's just not that easy right now.
And it's Odoamne on the roam because he has that turret down, because he has pushed him out. He can look to move around the map and extend his advantage to the other lanes. It's almost the same thing as you see those bot lanes do. Take down the top lane turret. Jace acts as like that AD carry. If you get some alone time on this mid lane turret, you will crush it as a Jace.
Yeah, and we looked at some of the interviews as well where foreign players were talking about Odoamne. Impact had high things to say about him. I believe even Smeb said nice things, and honestly, he has a history of leading his lane in this tournament. This is the third time in a row, or third time rather, at Worlds that he's up over 1,000 gold at 15 minutes against his direct lane opponent. He's tied with Q-Bait for that exact stat. Right now we see more action.
Oh, good
lane.
snipe, but forgiven. I think gonna play goalie. Make sure Squishy Vanda does not get aggressed on.
And look where Yankos is. He's behind the bot lane. He's coming down. They could look for a dive here. They have a pink ward in this bush, so they know that they will be able to spot Lee Sin, but will it be in time? These guys are moving up pretty far.
We'll have to see. Yankos again going to play it patiently. ANX do have a nicely placed pink ward there, but Ryu's coming as well, and all of a sudden this dive looks very tricky. Yankos going to line it up. Who's going to take the turret first? Ryu's ghosting in. Oh, very creative, but they have to run the other way. Gets tagged by Hemo, playing flashes full. Great double stun there from Liquid, and they're still running into the enemy jungle.
Coming down, though.
Chaos there as well, but Yankos going to cut him off the bot. There's a snipe. Takes on the bot. Miracle tagged as well as Ryu takes one down, and ANX, that's two dead. They have to run.
That shock blaster. Clever little pathing there from Licrit. Did as best as he could to avoid that dive. No chance to live under the turret, so they go for the great escape. They at least force out some summoners, but still, it's 2 more kills for H2K. They're up 6,000 gold.
Yankos looking again, does not get the Wolf Spirit down. Steos holds onto his jungle for now, but ANX are just busy chasing H2K out of their side of the map rather than applying that pressure, and all of a sudden those two sort of neutralizing lanes in mid and bot are starting to play up and aggressive. Towers are looking to fall, and Odoamne, he's the king of the hill right now.
It certainly is, and with that bot lane turret going down to Forgiven, they can take over the jungle, get that vision, really look to control ANX.
Yeah, and this is the style I like to play. Look at Ryu actually arriving first in this matchup here. It indicates that H2K, no matter what champions they get, they are winning all 3 lanes here, allowing for these roams, and then, well spotted there. That roam from Odoamne is just dirty at this point. Anybody walking into him 1v1 is going to die.
Also clever from Odoamne, he was actually TPing to bot. He saw them escaping, quickly cancels his TP, and moves to collapse, knowing that's the only way they could get out. So very well played from the H2K top lane.
Ooh, Tempered Fate hits on Evander again. Kira looking for the snipe, gonna line it up. Stun's gonna miss, and that'll be a flash from Vander. Now they might even turn it around. Stehos a little low, but doesn't commit for it, and you can just see they're doing the right things, looking for the picks, but H2K just burning summoners and not giving that gold over.
Yeah, that was the 40 ping skill shot, the 50 ping skill shot, but they're playing on an 8 ping right now. I feel like the Q that Liquid threw kind of threw Kira off guard, because when your support starts queuing early, you think, I mistimed the zone, yes, let's just follow up on it. And it all went poorly at that point. Really good pick off attempt, that's what they have to do. Tempered Fade on a straggler, CC him to death, and then hopefully that you can snowball, but the flash from Vander was good enough to get out.
And you can see the itemization for H2K picking up in aggression as the game continues on. Black Cleaver now done for Odo Wamne, which is insane, and the Proto Belt's done for Ryu, and now Odo is even going to get Rift Herald as well.
Yeah, super aggressive build here from Ryu, just wants to run in and mess with some people.
This is funny, maybe a steal. Smurf's in! Is he all the way in? I don't think he wants it. Looks for the axe, doesn't get it. Odo claims the buff. ANX don't commit into Odo Wamne.
As a top laner, it feels so bad. You're already so far behind, and now he gets the Rift Herald buff too. It's like, come on, man, give me something.
You gotta Frozen Mallet. He can slow him down as he dies.
Take a little longer to die because he's got a nice big bunch of health. Well, no one wants to go near Odo right now, but H2K, they're going to transfer people to this midsection of the map and see if they can't bust down a turret.
Yeah, from a strategy point of view, they're doing something they've done very often in Europe back in the day. Let's get back to it later because somebody's going to die.
Miracle getting dove, tied to blood. That's more than enough. Goodbye, as Vander claims one.
And that's the 1-3-1 for you. They put the 3 members in the mid lane. They always put Forgiven next to a turret that they want to take down. They have a strong dueling Vladimir with an aggressive build on the side lane. He pushes up, collapses in the mid lane. Odo Wamne is pushing in the top lane. Really good way to close out for H2K.
It's super well done, especially because Kira has no chance of 1v1ing this Vlad right now. He's on 2 items. He can't walk the dangerous way.
Odo 1v2 does flash out of the Axis. Steel's going to keep running.
Is coming.
He's ghosted, but Jankos in for protection. Going to keep moving in there. Acceleration gate. Going to try and turn it around. Jankos hops in, looks for the kick. Barely misses Steos. Liquid's here as well. Can they turn it around? Odo shut down finally. And Smurf going to take him down. And now Jankos getting chased out. Tempered Fade hits too. But the ulti from Syndra's going to get messed up as a result. Bit of a miscommunication. ANX at least get 1 kill.
Yeah, Jankos actually gets out thanks to that immune to Syndra ultimate. That Bard ultimate from Lecrit mistimed. Some bad communication there from ANX. They at least get on the board. They've picked up a kill.
Yeah, you could see that H2K was always looking for the fancy solution out. You know, Odo Wamne continuously juking, buying time for Jankos to get in. He wanted to get the pinball effect, kick the Gnar into the opponent, especially when you kick a tank. You get extra % damage right there. It all starts with Odo Wamne slightly overextending. Look at the river. There's no vision even in the enemy jungle either, so he gets 1 juke. 2 jukes right here. As Jankos comes in, he wants to line up Smurf and kick him into Steos, but it's so close to missing.
Just barely misses there, and Odo Wamne tries to turn that around. If that ulti actually kicked the Gnar through, they might have killed off Steos.
Oh, so. Jankos, that's dirty! I think he stole the dragon away from ANX.
Ooh, and it's an infernal one too, so everything starts off worse and gets even worse down the drain for Albus NoX. Every play they make seems to get countered by H2K.
I'm also surprised that Smurf actually did go Frozen Mallet. I expected when he's this far behind, just go Randuin's or something and pray to land a good CC chain. Because at this point, he's going to be so tricky. Kira's getting kicked in.
Oh, good kick. Jankos finishes it off. The mid turret's going to crumble as well. And it's just all going right for H2K.
Yeah, everybody keeps getting picked off here because they feel safe under their turret, but you're not safe when a Lee Sin and a Jace are this far ahead on the map. So much pressure right now from H2K. They can be so happy with how this game 1 went.
Safety's an illusion against these guys. They can dive so easily. Vladimir with a Proto Belt, he's so aggressive with it. You can get in there, you can reset the aggro with your pool and look for dives constantly, and it just feels like now there's nowhere safe on the map for ANX.
Yeah, even with slightly subpar vision, H2K is not afraid to just play high pressure on all lanes, because if you commit to ganking 1 lane, there is either a collapse possible or a cross map that they can take. They playing a very fast-paced League of Legends right now, hoping to close out this game very quick.
Well, they did get the shutdown onto Odo, which is good news. Smurf got a nice influx of gold as a result of that kill. Unfortunately for ANX, it's their only kill of this game, and they're behind 8,500 gold at 22.5 minutes. The H2K pressure, it wasn't as early as we maybe expected, but you can see the items starting to get completed, and they're just insanely far ahead right now.
22 minutes in a quarterfinal at Worlds. 0 towers for the purple side team. Only 1 kill was made there. H2K was en route to take a perfect game.
They are still, yeah.
There was
that is gone. At the same time, now they just look to continue to extend that lead. They don't care about the perfect game. They just care about the win. And Baron is likely going to be the next target here for H2K. They need to establish vision. That's what they're trying to do now. You see Vander moving in, getting a couple wards, and they will look to extend that. Odo Wamne is going to be in the bot lane. No one can really answer this guy, and they can really start to put some pressure on.
And this is great because H2K's main flaw throughout the entire season was their mid to late game Baron control. They shorted up definitely in week 2 when they went 4-0 here at Worlds, They're still looking to perfect it, and it's much easier to execute as a strategy and to get a good feel of it within a game against a team when you're this far up.
And if we just take a look at Fog of War from ANX's position, they actually can't see anything right now. They have almost no vision.
They can't see Ryu collapsing on the top side right here.
Jankos looking for a kick. Who's he going for? No, Ragnarok is nice. Now Temper Fate's going to turn around, finds two. As Jankos and Ryu get locked up, but it's not quite enough. Kira moves in for the stun. Jankos low does go down as Liquid gets him with a Stranglehold. Finds him with a knock over. Here comes the chase. Steos is down. Ryu protobelts himself under the turret, and it's just carnage here. Ryu looking for more. Goes to Liquid's own portal. Ties onto two, and it's just a mess. Smurf finds Odo with a knock-up as Ryu gets caught up on the other side, but Odo managed to take a few more down, and that's 4-1 H2K.
An absolute massacre for H2K. They're going to push straight down mid lane and likely get the first inhibitor of the game here.
Yeah, even if they made some of the right reactions, ANX is just simply too far behind. Love the in-pool portal taking by Ryu right there. Once they changed it so you can zone out in pool, you can do actions in pool, you can obviously take magical journeys.
That's
nice
Ryu.
dodge right there.
Ryu again gonna get hit up. Kira actually does snipe Forgiven. Ryu's gonna find him as Odo One looks to dive in, and this chase does disgusting damage. Inhibitor still up for now. Can they take it? Odo needs a few more shots, but Liquid is gonna keep them out. The acceleration gate is gonna bail the team out down the mid lane, but Liquid still chasing in. He wants a nice angle on the stun. Looks for Vander, does not get it. And they're still chasing. They're actually pretty speedy, but Odo says, all right, let's go for it. Liquid caught up there, looks for Ryu and gets taken down by the Vlad, and Steos says, I'm leaving.
And I mean, ANX, they kept chasing. It was just Steos and Licrit, though. There was words from H2K. They saw that their AD carry wasn't coming. A Miracle was staying behind. Smurf was staying behind. They just overextended.
Yeah, they're caught in the rabbit hole right now, overextending. It was a nice attempt to stun through the creeps, and Ryu flanks, nice portal to get out. This is all the right approaches, counter-engage with Tempered Fate, looking for Chain CC on the Olaf with the trap. This is all a good setup, but they're just simply too far behind. And once Ryu gets access to the backline, even through exhaust, he is killing two people at once. Odoamne even missed Shockwave. Is just so hard for ANX to fight back.
And sure, they kill off Jankos, but it's still the big carries alive. Forgiven is untouched. Odoamne comes in, and this guy was massive, able to clean up so much on the back of this fight.
For ANX, it will be time to start looking forward to the next game.
Quite possibly. Is that mid inhib's nice and open? H2K did ping it earlier before the replay, but haven't taken it just yet. They'll slow things down just a touch.
Yeah, but they have no issues with being behind in best of series. They reverse swept their way into, honestly, Worlds, starting in their local playoffs right there. They were down 2-0 versus Vega Squadron. Made the 3-0 happen here. They're used to some defeats here. They know that everybody expected them to be, honestly, the underdog, so they're definitely not going to be too shaken up in the next game.
Right now, there's just no one actually answering Odoamne. He can just keep going, to be honest. He has Jankos spotting for him, and he could probably just take down this inhibitor turret so fast if he even wants to pop his Ghost Blade. Gonna play it safe, will back off.
Oh, Jankos.
Jankos never plays it safe, does go in, baits out a couple cooldowns, but Steos gonna chase him down. Vander keeps him out with the Stranglethorns, but Kira ultis him, it is enough for the kill. And all of a sudden, Jankos a little too much there. That's gonna force the flash out from Forgiven.
But he's Ryu's in the back.
Ryu, good protobats looking for Kira. He's just too tanky. Takes out the portal. Ryu follows him after slaying the Syndra, and they're going to keep running in. Steos locked up by the Rooters. Ryu grabs the double. Now Smurf kiting it out with a frozen mount and a bit of help from Miracle. Damage is almost enough, but now Forgiven's turn to turn it around. They're looking for Ryu, but they can't get it. Miracle gonna get his face screwed up. He's not careful. Ryu gets himself a triple.
Quadra.
There's the Quadra. Now going to chase it down for the Penta. Liquid, don't give it away. He's bailing back to the fountain.
Oh, Ryu's not even gonna go for it. He's going for the objectives instead. But they will pick up at least 2 inhibitors here, and they could even go for more, get a Nexus turret or 2 if they want.
Yeah, they can definitely start hitting these Nexus towers, and this was the equivalent of assuming the fetus position for ANX. Everybody huddled up in the mid lane, looking for a couple of kills, but even with a good engage, it was enough for the Vladimir to step in and start wrecking faces.
And I think the Penta was still on the table, but rare discipline from H2K that we have seen from them as they've moved into the quarterfinal stage of Worlds. Ryu does not overextend for it. They'll reset, take their inhibs, now taking second Infernal Drake for themselves. Jankos stole the first one, just casually takes this one.
And this is just really smart, disciplined play. Very hard to lose from this point. And this was a little bit of a head-scratcher from Jankos. He goes in, he's not able to get anything done. But because his team is so far ahead, any fight that they take is going to be good. And look at Ryu coming in from the backside.
Yeah, that was the Ryu flank here. Jankos was basically looking for multiple opportunities. Does he go for a kick flash onto Kira? Does he try to bowling pin a couple of players right there? And in the doubting, he obviously overextended and people disengaged. But then Ryu steps in, so hard to deal with him. He can solo.
Oh, Ryu, he wants it again. Just Hemo plays in onto 2. Now going to keep going for it. Liquid takes a portal. Kiri goes up, but Ryu in there as well. So this shut him down. Yankos kicks Liquid into Miracle, but Smurf is keeping them all at bay. He's burnt the ultimate as Yankos looks to dive back in. Odoamne very threatening as Liquid gets tagged and taken down by Yankos.
They're going to keep chasing here. Odoamne's looking for a Shock Blast.
Don't get it though. Squishy members there as Caitlyn looking very vulnerable. Odo wants it again. Fishers doesn't get it.
Yeah, doesn't get it, but they're all so chunked out that H2K can get access to the Baron area if they want. They don't need it to finish the game. There's no smite available on the other side here. Easy Baron to close out this game. What a gargantuan gold lead they have sporting already at the 29-minute mark.
And H2K could just turn and kill these guys if they want. They have the vision. They see them coming in. They will look to punish the Baron first.
Oh my god, he stole it! Odoamne's going to take him now, but Miracle stands his ground and slays Odoamne. Smurf going to flush his way in, but he's caught in enemy territory. Yanko's able to take him now, but Kira keeps the game afloat.
A little bit of that Baron magic. We saw a couple snug Barons. Now we see Kira stealing away a Baron, keeping ANX's hopes very dimly alive.
Dimly alive. I don't want to be negative, Nancy. I don't think this Baron will matter at all for this game.
Yeah.
But what it can mean in the scope of a best-of-5 series is a lot more, though.
Morale.
H2K is showing some weaknesses, and there's definitely a morale boost here for ANX as the crowd gets behind them again.
Just a nicely timed combo there from Kira. Get something back, and even if it is just that moral victory, it's gonna feel a little bit better.
So that hurts.
It does. Look at Liquor, and he's like, all right, nice. Managed to get it done there. And now they've got Ryu again. Pretty tanky on the Vlad Stales, and Liquor going to work on it. Miracle is some real DPS.
Yankos
Ryu does
looking.
not care as Yankos will defend his mid laner.
And it's hard to judge H2K. Is this the way they will close out a game if the gold lead is not as big? We don't know. These are some of the weaknesses they've shown in the past, but it's so easy to get lost on the map when you have this large of a gold lead. So I will hold my judgment until we see the next game. But it's definitely, if you want to go cleanly into semifinals, you want to keep the games fresh and, you know, not lose too much energy yourself. You gotta close quicker and better.
You certainly do, and I think that they have to show that dominance, especially, you know, if they want to show how far they can go in this tournament. But H2K now, they are looking extremely strong. 2 inhibitors down. I'd like to see Odoamne in the side lanes, pushing in the waves, getting that going for them, and then the team move up to the top side, wait for those waves to push in, siege the last inhibitor turret.
Definitely, they can do any variation of 1-3-1 or 1-1-3 here.
I don't know about this TP. I feel like that's a bit of a waste from Odoamne. I think he could have just walked out, but I guess they really just want to push the issue.
The reason they do it like this is because they don't want the Nard to push out another wave in the bot lane. Big creeps can push on their own, especially when turrets are taken down in the lane already. He just wants to get the top lane poke. Remember, H2K can just die. They're still over 14,000 gold ahead. Baron buff on a couple of members doesn't really matter at all.
Ryu's taking some damage. Kira attacked by Yankos. Kicks him in. There's the pick they needed. Vanda gets himself another kill. As Odoamne is going to take some damage as well. Miracle on the crit. Working on it, but the Fizz is going to pop, and that's going to be Odo still going down. Yankos actually now in trouble as ANX might have turned this around. Forgiven. Has to be careful. There's a nice Stranglethorn's going to keep the rest out. Ryu, though, getting chased down by Smurf, and he has to leave the base. Just missing the wallop there for Smurf. Doesn't commit the ultimate, no flash, and can't make the big play. But H2K starting to kind of run out of ways to break the rest of this base.
Yeah, pick off mid on the Syndra. Immediate reaction from Liquid coming out with the Tempered Fate top.
A really good job by them, and they do get one back. ANX is holding on, and H2K not doing a great job of closing this out with a massive lead.
Stales caught again, but he's pretty tanky on the other side. Liquid, no ultimate, still fishing for Cosmic Bindings. H2K doing what they can, but it's hard to push through this Baron buff. Smurf can defend this Nexus top for as long as he can.
Yeah, and in the opening sequence of today, Liquid was talking about this. If you play not to lose, you're always going to lose in the end, because if you play to win, that's what you got to do. And that's what ANX is doing right now, continuously looking for picks, fighting their way out. If it backfires, so be it. They don't care if they go down 10,000, 20,000. But right here, look at the minimap. The second they get caught here, they don't look to help. They put Tempered Fate onto Odoamne, into Trap, into Q. Holds exhaust until the CC is over. Look at the disengage from Miracle though. Max range, nothing gets interrupted. It's honestly a perfect setup onto Odoamne, who was super fed.
That was so well played, and even Kira getting his ultimate off, having the presence of mind to do that, means that Ryu cannot go aggressive to follow that fight because he was chunked out too. So some little things making a big difference there for ANX. Their inhibitors are back now, and they are scaling.
This is close to as a reset in this game as we were going to get.
Always scaling, Crab.
Always scaling.
Always scaling.
Go for late game, guys.
Late game, doesn't matter.
Eventually, they run out of item slots. That's what I tell my team every time.
Well, still plenty of slots to fill for ANX as far as their items are concerned, but maybe give it 10, 15, perhaps 20 minutes, and we could see. We've seen the magic from ANX before. We have another Infernal Drake spawning though, and H2K going to look to take that. The odds are certainly stacked against Albus NoX Luna this particular game, but we've seen crazier things already.
They are massively, especially the fact that Yanko stole that first Infernal, and now they're kind of staring down the barrel of the shotgun with third Infernal on the map. If you get all three of those, it's such a massive advantage, and Yankos is behind them. They're looking for a fight here.
Big play again. He pops around to and stacks Kira, but he gets stunned up. Yankos is going to go down, and Kira burns the ulti, but there's the snipe. Takes him down. Ryu in the backline, doing so much damage as Miracle gets a shutdown, but it's just too much for H2K. Clean up 3 for 1, and Smurf and his GA going to run back.
Yeah, beautiful flanking from H2K. Yankos is just a distraction. If he kills somebody, it's nice because it just gives Ryu access to the backline.
Certainly does. Ryu is the hero of this fight. He comes in from behind. They lose their jungler, but he takes down the AD carry, and they're looking to push and perhaps end the game right now with minions coming in.
They're just zoning him here. Licorice did make it back, but Miracle
Oh!
dead. That was dumb, as Oda1 destroys the poor support. H2K going to push in, look to try and take this game down. And that's going to be it here. Smurf zoned out of his base. Going to get all in by Odo. Does take him down for the G as the rest of his team is going to rip through the Nexus turret. Smurf flashes out. Does not want to give away one more kill. But there's the first Nexus for H2K.
Europe strikes first blood as the NALCS is H2K. EULCS, by mistake, is up 1-0 here in the quarterfinals. And they are looking good. They had some blunders in the late game, but their laning was so dominant. Oda1, a huge star here, and worked very, very well with Yankos in game 1.
But this game says so little about the series because it all started, honestly, with a blunder.
Because H2K was able to have a successful bot lane with no bot side pressure, right? We did not have to see Lee Sin down there at all.
Yeah, no Jinban, obviously, because Forgiven doesn't play it, but it should be the first pick Caitlyn if the stars align, especially since H2K have shown that they don't care too much about the Syndra. So this should be a reply here where H2K probably want an early Zyra again, and they need to find another answer here. What has Forgiven picked up that he can lane into Caitlyn?
I would really like to see that Zyra taken away because I think that giving Licrit that kind of comfort pick, something that's really strong in the meta and that he's really strong on, could be a mistake.
And I'm not sure what Steos is going to do with the Olaf across off the board. Is stealing the Lee Sin worth it for H2K here? I'm doubting because I feel like Steos can just play the Elise.
Yeah, he can just play the Elise, and he always does have Graves as that kind of comfort pick to fall back on. It's not huge in the meta right now, but this guy loves to play it.
Within a world's metagame, Zyra Syndra would be the ideal rotation here, but I wonder if they change their opinion. Maybe just go for another Jace. It went fine last game.
I mean, they can flex it as well. Odo going to flash some Rammus for a bit of style, but the Zyra is already locked in there for H2K, so we'll see what they pair it with. And once again, they'll pick Jace, likely for Odo1 there.
And I feel like they just think that they have a strong laning advantage in this top lane. Yeah. So give this guy the advantageous lane matchup. Allow him the ability to try to snowball and take it over. It worked in game 1. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, but definitely go in with the mindset that it won't be as easy as it was before. Oda1 made a few tiny mistakes overextending in late game. But again, I'm not going to blame that as a lack of awareness from H2K. I think they just bought into the fact that they were so far ahead that they could play a more relaxed style of League of Legends. But definitely the lack of Syndra priority confuses me, and I wonder if it's going to change in the series. Once the games get closer, Syndra can really dominate these teamfights.
Certainly can, and I think that although Vladimir is up as that safe lane pick, we talked about it again, it doesn't actually deal with the pick in the rest of the game. It only survives lane.
It survives lane, but gets pushed in, which means Syndra can roam, and that can cause like a cascading effect where the card house starts falling down. Because Syndra leaving lane can influence those winning lanes. Winning lanes push up, Syndra gets behind, 2 kills, it's over.
Well, you can see Elise and Na there for ANX, so Steos kind of taking the pick we expected him to here, and Nerf going to go back to a lane he probably feels comfortable with. Forgiven will have to go to Lucian with 2 Eddie carries taken away, and Yankos, if it ain't broke, no need to fix it, going to take Elise in again.
And I think that the Lucian, it is a very strong lane, and if you can catch people in these Zyra routes, you can get very good trades, very aggressive trades. But if it's just a straight up standard lane, you can get bullied in, and it's going to be Alistar Caitlyn. This is something that has been very popular in the world's meta, the headbutt pulverize combo into the traps. But the problem becomes, if you just chill in a 2v2 in lane, you're going to get smashed by the Zyra. Yeah,
you get smashed, but there's always the threat of a Q flashing to knock backwards, especially since he'll be sporting the Ignite. The plan is quite simple for ANX. They want lanes that can be influenced on every lane by their jungler and their support, so they want to get some sense of pushing threat in the mid lane. It could be the Aurelion Sol, it can also be the Syndra. So likely to push in either matchup. Then the Syndra can leave, start influencing a very, honestly, tippy matchup in the top lane. Narkin can get ahead of a Jace, and when he does, it's very hard for Jace to strike back. Combine that with jungle pressure, the early game will be a good indicator of how this game's going to go.
And if the Gnar gets ahead of the Jace, especially in combination with the Elise, that's one of the easiest dives in the game as far as a 2v1. So Odoamne is going to have to show respect there. Will be Vladimir locked in again. Repeat of last matchup.
Yeah, this will be much harder for H2K's bot lane again. Yes, they could get push advantage, but they're playing double, very short-range champions into an Alistar that can get ganks from an Elise. Very hard to continuously play forward and avoid ganks at the same time, especially when your mid laner does not have the priority.
We do have to remember, though, that Lecrit has to have the confidence to make those plays, has to be moving around the map, getting stuff done, because if you sit back, if you just play it passively, Zyra will harass you out of lane. They will get massive advantages in that way, so you must pull the trigger, make stuff happen.
And it's just very few changes, really, for H2K. Every pick is the same, except for Forgiven, who did have to change to another short-range AD carry and Lucian. I feel like ANX have shifted a couple of things, not too much, but they've kind of put the power where they want it to be. Liquid, big playmaker on the Alistar, and Steos on a much more aggressive, gank-heavy jungler with Elise.
But if I look at just the draft, I almost want to say that ANX clearly won it.
Well, Coach is going to shake hands. Wonder what they think. Guess we'll find out as we get ourselves onto the roof. Don't forget, though, to join the conversation on Twitter and share your favorite moments from Worlds 2016 using the hashtag #WorldBigPlays. And you can continue getting your team hashtags rolling out there as well. ANX have a lot of fans out there in the world right now. We've heard them here in the crowd, we've heard them out there online, but H2K maybe silencing some of that with that very crisp game one.
I think they definitely did. In ANX, you have to feel like they need to strike back here in game number 2. If you go down 2-0 against H2K, the reverse sweep is going to be really tough to pull off.
Well, that's technically the only way you can reverse sweep, though.
There you go. That's why I'm saying you don't want to get into that reverse sweep situation.
That's true.
Got tied up, Crepo. Keep up, keep up.
Gotta go back to European style, you know, get those ties out.
Yeah. H2K has the experience there, so I don't know if it goes to a tie, you know, they got the advantage.
More than enough ties on the caster desk. Thank you very much. As we are out onto the rift, you can hear the crowd once again cheering for Albus NoX. Luna, we have swapped sides around. And we'll see if Miracle and Licorice can maybe get a bit more leverage here. And just in general, ANX, they kind of pick themselves the right tools to get stuff done. See if they can get more of their early game done this time.
Yeah, and last game we saw 2 of the most important concepts of, honestly, the first 5 minutes in League of Legends come to fruition. It is information sharing, and especially in terms of leashes. The fake leash in the top lane had a completely surprising effect there when Steos found Jankos, and then also the importance of early lane push in the bot lane. And H2K seem very set on getting that one again, but we see a different approach here from ANX. Wanting to punish maybe Vander when he goes for a ward. I really hope for their sake that they don't commit to another camp here. Alistar plus Krugs really isn't good for this lane matchup for a multitude of reasons. I'm not going to delve into it too much because then people start snoozing. But we'll definitely see a fight for the push here early.
Yeah, and I think that they aren't going to go for that. I think they realized their mistake from last time. They've worded out that Zyra is hanging out here. They know they don't want to give up that early push, and I think with that early Relic Shield, you can easily get that push going for yourself.
Ooh, I wonder if they actually let Forgiven walk in and go for the freeze and then kind of stomp him from out of brush, because that's what he did the last game. He walked into the lane to get the mini freeze, but technically if they're in the brush, there's a chance. There's so many like what ifs that could happen. Let's just find out what happens.
Well, here we are in the bottom lane. Forgiven actually hanging back pretty far. Kira and Ryu will go back into the same matchup here. See if Kira can have a bit more success early on. Nice little Thunderlord's proc there, getting some damage down. And I guess the other change early on is that the junglers will be starting on the same side of the map this time around as well. So no tricks this time from ANX, but we'll see if they get more aggressive down towards that bottom side or not.
Certainly no tricks just yet with that, but there can always be adjustments as far as pathing go. There's ways that you can kind of mix it up.
Trap start by a Miracle here is peculiar to say the least. H2K get the push again. They were definitely looking for some queso right there.
Yeah, they were. I think the only thing that you could say is they're hoping that Forgiven goes for that freeze. Yeah. You Q flash, you trap him out of that, you get first blood.
Plus
that was what they were looking for. But that said, you still shouldn't have leveled up your trap until that happens.
Yeah, you should wait with skilling. You saw the ward on your screen as well in the second brush. It was placed at basically 150 by Vander, spotted out the trap that ANX has set up, and then H2K played it perfectly, you know, calmly just poking out, getting control, pushing as just the margin as fast as they need. You don't want to overpush. You want to deny as many minions and make it an awkward wave that hits a turret, and that's how they want to get a CF advantage. Now Smurf, or Liquid rather, is level 2. That's the threat of an all-in with Alistar. That's what H2K need to play around, but still, they're in such a comfortable position.
They certainly are, and it's not the start that the ANX bot lane was hoping for, but obviously a couple minions, not that big of a deal.
We'll see if that keeps growing here. Is Kira and Ryu doing battle. Kira burning a lot of that mana pool, but does chunk Ryu down pretty nicely. Vlad is particularly vulnerable in the early levels, but Kira, see if you can, again, affect those side lanes a little more now that he is getting those pushes going.
Yeah, much different approach here from the first game. We see both junglers got a leash from their top laners, and they're pathing down to at least get river control. Really good Scuttle Crab contestation there as well. Getting the Scuttle Crab means a lot for these teams. We're going to see if there's some more priority coming out from the junglers.
You can see Jankos is actually a camp or two full ahead because Steos was kind of not doing that hard clear. He was hanging around, looking to see if he could find anybody. He wasn't able to, and as a result, Jankos is going to be first to kind of make a move here, perhaps in the mid lane.
Yeah, he put a ward near the Scuttle Crab, but didn't want to waste time
looking
it. He's going for Kira here, who's low on mana. Kira smartly going to the right side. The little game that Jankos is playing that we can follow too. He walked into river. He didn't want to waste time taking the Scuttle Crab, so he places a ward that could potentially spot Steos if he goes to check for it. And then Jankos just keeps power clearing, going for an efficient gank in the mid lane here. He's trying to accelerate the game, leaving his bot lane slightly exposed, but they bounced the wave. Look at Forgiven and Vandernaut too. They're much safer. They're respecting the threat of an Olaf, of a Elise gank with an Alistar with Flash early on. So H2K very much so playing as a unit.
It feels like one of our big questions for H2K's bottom lane in particular was, can they deviate from their style? Well, not really. They always want to play the same way, but they can adapt within that mode, it feels like.
Definitely, we see a different H2K here. Forgiven and Vander are not mindlessly pushing up. They say, you know what, at least start top side. We don't know where he is. We're playing against a guy that loves to pull the trigger on the Flash. They'll just back out. They will take some poke here, and they will buy into the range disadvantage that Kalen has.
Oh, hello. Straight in onto Forgiven. Licorice not quite clear enough to cleanly combo out, but I love the aggression.
I actually like it myself too. Trade a little bit of your health and mana, get Forgiven into an uncomfortable position, but they're actually just going to take this time, it looks like, to fully base, and at least just on Licorice. Interesting.
Yeah, they want to send him back. Just get some
He's going
strength.
topside.
Because you want to,
he
can roam, and but the reason you don't want to base right there is because it's too easy of a bounce there for Forgiven and Vander, and a Miracle can actually farm on the turret if this wave gets shoved in. The reaction when people base is usually to go fast shove, so he's just going to pick up those minions under the turret.
And this is going to be super unexpected. This was an early base from Licorice. I don't think Odoame is going to be expecting this guy to be topside, but that said, he doesn't even have boots. It's taking him forever to get up here, and they're actually pinging the possibility of him being up here now, so he's wasting so much time just kind of wandering around the map.
Because this is a play you see very often in scrims where supports on first base try to influence other lanes because of the nature of the play. It's so unpredictable.
Feels like the right play, but no rewards there for Licorice. Unfortunately, Odo actually completes his base. Now with double Dorans and 2 longswords, not the same lead nearly that he had at this time around in game number 1, but is actually still playing and should continue to be aggressive. Smurfer, to his credit, stabilizing the lane much better here.
Yeah, Kira, once he hits 6 there, and he has the Lost Chapter, and he gets his next blue buff, that's the breaking point in the early game. That's when Ryu's going to start eating too many orbs that he can't really dodge, and he's going to lose the lane pressure. We're going to see if Kira can then roam, because if H2K get pushed in bot lane, nothing's preventing them to get Dole 4v2 here. That's definitely something they need to keep track of.
Yeah, not at all, especially because the Zyra is so squishy. If you hit any sort of CC on this Zyra, she's dead to a Syndra roam. So that's something they're always going to have to be aware of. You also have to track the fact that it's Cocoon, it's the combo from Alistar, and we have traps plus the Syndra stun. Those are 4 forms of CC that are easily lit.
Odoamne back in again, but good trade onto Smurf. Smurf's actually going to hop back in and trade back. Not too bad there, but Jankos was roaming up as well. Steos is on this side of the map, but he might lose a camp here. Good ward.
Level advantage.
Going to spot him, but he wants it. Oh my god, he's a genius. Swoops in, does get the camp, and now what does he get? He forces a flash. Jankos, great heads-up play.
Steos actually had his smite. He could have just smited that. I don't know if he was looking somewhere else on the map. That's the only thing I can think.
Oh, your Smurf's going in for the 1v2. That's under the assumption that it was smiteable. Maybe it was the level difference. Jankos had a slightly better smite. Maybe they were running the numbers. We'd have to go check back. In the end, it doesn't really matter too much. Jankos went in for the aggressive play, got the flash, got the Grom steal, and he's definitely full level head right now, it seems, of his opponent.
Confidence from Smurf though. Does go in, look for something, but isn't going to find it. And Steos just going to move back to that bottom side. Ryu actually going back. Does have that Spectre's Cowl, so things should get better in his 1v1 matchup.
And with Steos actually moving to the bot side here, and H2K so far up, they're going to have to be careful. They actually have no vision whatsoever. Steos is going to get behind them. We'll see if Lucret will go.
Oh, Forgiven now going to get comboed in by the crit. Forgiven trying to dash out of the way, but here comes Elise as well. Vander now has to move out of the way to get
TP coming in from Odo on day.
Vitaling going to move back in, looking for Forgiven. Exhaust is down, and they're trying to kite it out. Odo finally makes it in, and ANX just don't have enough. Kira is finally going to make it, but Odo gets first blood again! As H2K are going to try and book it. The ulti's there from Kira, but it's not enough to take out Odo, and now he's going to slay. Odo finally goes down, but Jankos goes back in. Got no kick. Ryu in here with a massive 4-man Hemo flank. Flash tied the bomb, looking for a little bit more, but Kira going to stun him up again. Liquid does go down to Jankos on the other side of the fight. It's a disaster. Smurf turns it around. Strangleborn's going to knock him up, and he goes down as well. It's just not enough to save anyone.
And ANX is just completely not on the same page there. As they're going forward, a Miracle is running away. Smurf TP'd in way too late, and that was just a tragedy for ANX. This game has already gone pear-shaped.
What a massacre here for H2K. They get 4 kills to 1. Steos has to steal this dragon, but there's no way for him to get into the pit. No flash, he can repel up. Doesn't have the range to reach it. He's trying to find out how low this dragon exactly is. As he curves around the corner, it's down. They bought into that play so much. It was the right idea. Gank the bot lane, but Forgiven respected the play enough. He held enough range here, not getting into Q flash range ever, which meant Liquid had to expend this flash, which means no dash backwards.
But watch a Miracle here. He just turns around. He's not even getting involved. The TP comes in. He's like, all right, we're out. The rest of his team is all in. Where's the TP coming in from Smurf? That is like a full 5 seconds late after Odoamne. They're just not on the same page at all. And if Smurf TP'd in first, I think they win this fight.
Definitely, if the Gage is a coordinated effort here with the TP. Miracle, that was his first auto attack in over 10 seconds, it feels like. Yep, definitely great job pointing that one out, and that's honestly the change for this fight. If you are the team setting up the play, you gotta commit. You gotta throw all your resources at it, especially when you have a role play like the Syndra. Definitely a big weakness here for ANX, not using the pattern of plays that we've seen in so many games. Syndra push up, roam down, jungler comes with you, teleport, just completely annihilate bot lane and then get the turret.
And Jankos this time is the slacker. The first time he has not participated in a first blood here at Worlds for H2K. Odo, though, keeps his perfect record for the series. Does get it again.
Ooh, he does get involved in 3 kills right after it, though, so not too bad. We'll give him a free pass on this one.
Maybe it was close enough. Still counts.
He's like, I'm in range, it's fine. I basically count. Well, once again, H2K have jumped out to a 2,000 gold lead here. 10.5 minutes in, and ANX, I love what they tried there, but now H2K with pressure, with momentum. We see what they can get done. This is Odo just going back in, and Smurf just can't do much of anything.
Oh, it's like you're going to get some PTSD here if you're Smurf, and Jankos is coming. This could be that 2v2 turned around.
Not quite what they wanted it to be. Odo's going to look for it again. Smurf hops his way out, but here comes Jankos again. Kick after the Q. Jankos takes down another.
And it's those little things, applying the Q before the R here. Jankos tanking the turret.
Oh my goodness!
Flashback to last game. Odoamne is fed. Up 30 plus CS. He's going to be working on this turret. Smurf has no teleport. This turret is going down, and Odoamne, once again, monstrous lead in the top lane.
He's smashing some kids right now. It's honestly dirty how far this Jason's ahead in 2 games in a row. They had the right reactions in the bot lane. Part of me wonders what happens when that play of ANX is executed perfectly. That is something that hopefully H2K take home, but they are reacting so well in the moment, and especially the point that Azale brought up earlier, the innate jungler top lane synergy, it's there, because you can see it. Jankos was reacting to Odoamne holding back. Odoamne holds back, which means Jankos can tank the turret, which means they can chase out perfectly. No chance for turnaround right there. Very cleanly executed play.
Even in the earlier play there, Odoamne has the faith in and communication with his jungler to know he can turn around at the right time, forcing Smurf back, allowing them to have a 2v1.
Kira actually looking again, but he's got no mana. Now going to get chased down. Jankos lines up another Q, but goes spot by Kira, keeps him safe.
And they respect the fog of war. It's a game of low percentage plays, especially when you are 4,000 gold ahead already. You don't need to over chase. Very calm and collected.
Dog gets him into the wall, carries him all the way, but Miracle taking damage. Tail looks for the flash cocoon and misses. H2K's bottom lane get away again.
That was so well played by Forgiven. Instead of trying to hit the Alistar, he pushes back the Caitlyn, keeping his support safe.
Oh, so well played by Vander. He had a flash and he never got afraid, especially since his AD carry still at heal. Both, yeah, give credit to supports, Azale. No, definitely well played by both. They know that they're not in threat of danger. They know exactly where the jungler is. He didn't even panic flash that cocoon. H2K seemed so in control of the game, really. And this is such a stark contrast, because in the middle of the split, their communication was so erratic. It was, in heat of the moment, they could never back out from place. once H2K started going, they kept going. Everyone was just yelling, go, go, go. Right now, Vander misses.
Oh, again, looking for Vander. Maybe a little squishy this time. Headshot's not enough. The exhaust keeps him alive, but Lucret wants it. He's trying to trample all the way down in the plants. But Vander gets away with it, burns all the summoners to do so.
And look how much time Steos has spent on the bot side of the map trying to force something, trying to make something happen. All this time, Jankos is getting further ahead. He's up 20 CS in the jungle too. He is being very efficient, and Steos is feeling the pressure. Feels like, I have to help this lane out.
Another 2v3 bot lane for H2K.
Oh, Ryu stunned again, but Kira again, not enough mana here versus that Spirit Visage to really do anything.
That's the nature of this matchup. You need to get ahead in the Syndra versus Vladimir before this point, before Spirit Visage. If not, Ryu, especially when he has a jungle and vision around him, can start playing aggressive. And look, Odoamne pathed it down, ready for the dive.
Yep, exactly, and that's the advantage he has gained from this massive topside lead.
Dive again. Ryu should have all the tools to do so. No ultimate, but that's going to be okay. Miracle's actually the one getting dove. Tango's going to kick him in the face. Forgiven just cleans up one last order as ANX commit the TP, then cancel it. As Odo's backing onto Kira, knocks him back. The stun's not bad. Kira flashes out of the way, but H2K take over that mid lane.
H2K are just striking on all sides of the map, and Smurf, there's nothing he could do with that TP. His AD carry is already long dead.
And I just love watching Greatly Sin players. They could approach hoping to save their flash if they just kick, but they know if the enemy has flash, he's waiting for that exact pattern.
Oh no. Kira, that's enough to the sky. Just crushes down on his head.
Slam dunk for Odoamne, and he wants more.
PvP Steos caught up this time, repels back down, but Odo looking for it again. The Hemoplex enough for you. Just takes him down, and now the crit. He's going to come into the blender. Odoamne looking to fire more shots in, but Liquid keeps his life alive. H2K going to claim the mid-outer, 3 turrets to nothing, and a gigantic gold lead.
It's getting tough to watch here as ANX is just losing on all sides of the map. They just don't seem to be able to keep up, and this is H2K in rare form. They are playing an immaculate game of League of Legends.
Yeah, they're punishing Albus NoX Luna, and it's the nature of a team that comes in with a lot of surprises in terms of gameplay and picks.
It just feels like Odoamne can do no wrong.
Yeah, it's too easy right now for him. We need to put hard mode on, some of those ultimate buffs in the game, to dodge everything. But no, this is also, it's part of the trajectory for ANX. You come into a tournament and you are a wild card in the literal sense of the word, where nobody knows what to expect and you get surprised. But the farther you go into the tournament, and the more you kind of start scrimming these teams as well, the more you get found out and honestly downloaded, and that's what H2K is doing. They're completely outplaying ANX across the board.
Yeah, ANX talked about how after that week 1 win, they started getting all those scrim partners. And yes, that's great practice and you can improve, but they lost the element of surprise kind of by starting to practice with these teams. And they even talked about the fact that they had practiced specifically with H2K.
Let's kind of wrap it all together. We have seen some perfectly good, solid, standard play from ANX as well. They're not just, you know, a team that plays only chaotic and that's it. And we saw the execution that could have been in this game and the last game, but they're just not quite on the same level as H2K right now, and that's costing them in so many of these early games.
But they're going up against a team that has players that have hit critical mass in terms of tournament form. Odoamne is playing amongst the best top laners in the tournament. He's being praised by his peers as well. We have Forgiven, who is a great AD carry, who finally has shown more flexibility in style as well. He's not with Vander just mindlessly pushing up here. He's actually baiting ganks, forcing Steos to stay around for so long. As a unit, H2K is using all that information and punishing Albus NoX Luna. So it's finally all tying together, and that's what was missing for so long for H2K.
It really is, and it has to be a bit frustrating for ANX, because both last game with the 2v2 top lane and this game with the party in the bot lane, if they had executed a little bit better, they could be the ones with the massive lead. They could be the ones snowballing the game, but instead, it's H2K astronomically ahead once again.
And credit to H2K, they're not only good at getting early leads, but they snowball almost harder than any other team in the tournament. They are on an absolute tear. Don't forget, they're 5-0 right now as far as overall wins go. This could be their 6th straight Worlds win in a row.
Yeah, their gold progression in the games is honestly fantastic to watch. Give them a little bit, they take so much more. When the Dragon goes down here, there was some questions in their closing ability last game, but shouldn't look into it too much. They have another chance to prove that they can cleanly close with a large gold advantage. But still, even if they do it sloppily, they're setting themselves up to be 2-0 in a quarterfinal. Honestly, something not expected for H2K coming into the tournament.
Well, you can see right now, Smurf is trying something cute here, but Forgiven once again playing with a lot of respect and restraint. We'll just let Miracle farm up here.
And it's like Crepo talked about earlier, respect Fog of War.
Yeah.
Until you see that Gnar somewhere else, give him the respect that he's in that bush.
Especially when the map is so tiny. you could run out of options. You know, where could he be? He could be standing behind his tier 1 turret. That's about it. If he's not there, well, then he has to be somewhere in the bot lane trying to cheese you. And H2K completely choke out vision. Again, they want a 1-1-3 or 1-3-1. Just put the Forgiven near the most vulnerable turret here. Ryu, put him in the long side lane. He can duel, especially since this Gnar is itemizing armor too. Against the Vladimir, he's just going to get put into the dumpster. Well, all these little things.
Been a lot of what the lanes have looked like, unfortunately. ANX have certainly struggled versus some strong opponents on H2K. H2K once again was off to a flying start, but it's been a little less chaotic than the game before. H2K, regardless, is still up almost 10,000 gold at under 20 minutes.
And it's also so hard to judge these drafts, and you know, because you look at the draft and I'm like, ANX won this, you know. If they do X and Y, they can outplay it, but maybe we're overlooking something, or maybe just H2K is such a great team. It's so hard to then get an accurate assessment of these picks. Also for H2K, if they go to the next round here in semifinals, hopefully they have the right context for some of these Syndra matchups, because if they play against a roaming mid laner that can get more influence, definitely could be possible.
Well, you can see again, H2K are sticking with the aggression that they love. Black Cleaver second for H2K, Protobelt second once again for Ryu. This is the team that gets a lead, gets the right items to push it, and then just pushes really hard.
Exactly, and having these mid-game spikes, those 2-item spikes where these champions are at their strongest this early, makes it so they can put themselves in a position to really blow the game wide open with one more fight.
And see a bit of a face check here.
Surprise!
The angle should be fine. Has kick still available.
Oh, good flash. Nah, gets a couple walls there as well. Kira, chains CC, and there's a pick for ANX.
Doesn't decide to pull the flash trigger. A lot of cooldowns used though. And that's what they were doing. H2K was building out their Baron vision. They had H2K in the bot lane, pushing up uncontested. They wanted to prep for a 20-minute masher.
Oh, that's awkward.
A little bit unlucky there for Lecrit, but
did he preempt that with a W, or was that just a straight Q flash?
It was I think he looked to headbutt and didn't hit the headbutt button on the target he wanted.
Yeah, no, he definitely flashed.
I think it was a flash Q looking for the headbutt after, but not quite connected there for Lecrit. We'll have a little check on that.
Yep,
but
still.
Odo is still just split pushing these side lanes.
Exactly, and ANX, once again, they know they need to make a play. They go for it. They layer the CC very well. The Elise followed up by that Gnar and the Syndra. They get a kill, and they start to fight back. They need to continuously look for these kind of picks and just claw their way slowly back into the game.
And honestly, it was just a straight-up whiff here for Liquid. And with Alistar, you can't afford to do that, especially now that the cooldown reduction boots kind of have been removed, or the summoner cooldown, the distortion, is no longer in the game. It was such a strong, powerful tool because Alistar could always go for these plays every 3 minutes. Right now, you're reduced to doing it every 4.5. So much vision right now for H2K as well. Look at how far back the trap line is for Caitlyn. That's generally an indicator of how far behind the team is on the vision game.
And he talked about it already. I just feel like ANX do need to make some plays, and those are the picks they want. Unfortunately, like we could see, it cost them so many cooldowns just to get one kill. Zara ulti's really blocking a lot of the party that they could be having as well. And H2K, a very speedy Baron start.
Yeah, they're going for the 2-man Baron here, showing their support and AD carry in the mid lane. They finish off mid wave, then rotate in here. They're kind of lucky Alistar was too afraid to peek around, but it is a smart strategy. ANX is going to expect the Baron to be started right now, but it's already on 4,000 HP.
Yeah, this is just going to be gone. It's going to be too little too late, and they're committing to it. The culling blown there from Forgiven is really smart. They're the ones pulling the sneaky Baron against ANX.
They've been spotted, but Ryu's just going to have to book it out. He pulls out of the way. He does have his flash, but won't have to expend it there. Don't forget H2K, they was still bottom lane without his teleport, so that was very well played
and
by
now he
H2K.
has the Baron buff, which Smurf can't contend with. You know, he's not able to clear out that wave. They get the turret.
Part of me feels it's still so risky to go for that play,
though. Very risky.
No teleport on your top laner. Liquid could have just walked in, warded, flash comboed, maybe turn it around.
Route roll.
So bold, but right now, if it pays off big.
Yeah, Liquid's like, yeah, get me out of here. Oh, the kick's not enough, but H2K, they might just go in anyway. Liquid almost about to get himself destroyed by a very fed Jace. But H2K instead, they'll group together in mid lane and try and shove down some more turrets with their very fresh Baron buff.
For Jace here, they're relatively short range, so they're susceptible to the QE here, but if they get hit and everybody forgets about Ryu, he's just going to 1v9 the team fights.
and Ryu was just zoning them off the side, even expending the ultimate to push them back, threaten that dive, and allows them to pick up more gold, get further and further ahead. And he's going in.
Ryu's in, looks for the prototype. Last few missiles do get him, and he's pulled his way out with style. Licrit, good three-man pole. They need to follow up those Strangleforms again. Gonna keep them out of the way. Licrit almost goes down, but has not enough damage.
And Vander playing a great defensive Zyra as well. Two-man snare. They're in the backline. Don't have enough range on the side of ANX to get to Ryu. That means Odoamne is uncontested in the bot lane.
This is part of the issue. Jace just doing so much work with his structures early on, particularly empowered by Baron. H2K can look for a bit of a greedy one here. Vander finds two with the Stranglethorns, but Stales just goes down 0-1. They now on a killing spree. Nah finds two. Well, doesn't connect on Licrit. He goes in again. It's a great pull, but it's just not enough. Forgiven takes out Smurf. There's the ace for H2K. They collect the body inhib, and they're not done.
Yeah, Albus NoX Luna playing whack-a-mole on hard mode. You solve one problem, but two more pop up. H2K is everywhere and just slaughtering them.
Oh, goodbye, Kira. There's the ace again for H2K. The Nexus turrets are going to go down, and H2K will go 2-0 in the quarterfinals.
23 minutes into the game, they close it out. We asked, can they close out the games with a lead? And I think that is a resounding yes, as H2K looks even better in game number 2.
What a complete smash here.
And we said, you know what, that Baron control, maybe looking a little iffy for H2K in game 1. You know how they solved it? They're like, 22-minute Baron, let's do it.
They pulled an ANX on ANX. That's how these guys won their games twice. They snuck the Baron to turn around games and take it over. They flip it right back on them.
The Albus NoX signature play turned around against them. Two-man Baron start. Every Baron play has a counter. There's always risk involved, but H2K very decisive in their approach. More importantly, they just got another big gold lead early. And again, protagonist in that one, Odoamne.
I mean, Odoamne is just having insane stats across the board. He's breaking his own.
And H2K is so aware of where PvP Stales is, and it's great scouting done by Jankos as well. He's showing up everywhere he needs. A quick push left, a quick gank right, and then a kill for Odoamne, or two.
Well, ANX, we've seen them play nice and chaotic. If they have a secret weapon, it needs to come out now, because they are down 0-2 in the series. But we are in a champ select for this next game here. H2K on the blue, Banaway, Brand, and Poppy, and Nidalee Sivir there for ANX. So far, so good, and very standard.
And I've got to think that ANX, you need to change something up, right? Even just for morale's sake. You can't just go into the game the exact same way that you did the first 2 times and get completely smashed again.
Even if you go for the similar picks, you probably are looking at some crazy level 1s. You know, that's honestly the way you can really spice up a game. Top laner hiding in a brush, surprise, teleports, etc.
Do need some spice there, as Jin and Rise are the last 2 bans for H2K and ANX respectively. What is the first pick here?
This leaves Olaf open, Syndra open. There's the trade on the Zyra and the Caitlyn. That's very important, especially with Jin. Banned out here and Sivir off the board here. So definitely a lot of things that H2K is looking at. They're running through all the scenarios where they pick one, trade 2, and then pick the 4th one on the back end. That's going through their head right now.
Certainly is, and I would love to see if Licrit could get his hands on this Zyra, before one of these games, change something up, give him the ability to perhaps take over a game and really kind of put out the extra damage.
First pick, Jace, 2 games in a row?
5.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I always forget about this Jace somehow. It doesn't enter my mind that this is apparently a staple top tier pick. Watch too many NA games where this.
Ooh.
It's 0 in EU, it's a 0 in NA, Crepo. Get that out of the NA games.
Well, there it is again once more for H2K. A 3rd straight first pick or first available pick of Jace there, presumably again for Odoamne.
And you have to think that they're going to be picking up the Zyra here.
Not that bad of a matchup. You can blind Jace as he swings in. You just gotta sidestep the shock blast.
Break it down for me, Crepo. Give me the strong analysis on the Teemo Jace lane.
Throw a shroom behind him and suddenly...
Wow, no counterplay.
It's over.
Yep.
Well, looks like no Teemo just yet. There's Caitlyn once again for a miracle, which I do still like, but Zyra sort of absent. They're looking for maybe Olaf again.
Yeah, but Olaf is such a great jungler for PvP Stales. That's his go-to jungler. He can also just run rampant through the Zyra as well once you walk into that lane. A good axe connecting early. I think this is the strongest 2 picks that they could get. I understand that they skipped the Zyra. They'll just have to play their lane different, though.
They certainly do, but I just would like to see them change something up, right?
Yeah,
Olaf has not been working. Jankos, you're not taking anything away from this guy. He's comfortable playing these other picks, and for me, You go all in on this very strong, aggressive bot lane. You try to make something happen. When you look at a lot of the wins for ANX, they've been on the back of Lecrit. His Tom Kench game against CLG took over. His Brand game took over. So these are the kind of things that I would like to see him have the chance to do. And by picking up this Olaf, you're denying him that chance because it's almost guaranteed going over to Vander in this side of the draft.
I would be so surprised if H2K don't take it here. Again, they really don't have too much to fix here. A lot of it's been in solid drafts, but just how they've played as well. It's been such crisp play from H2K, and it's only getting better as the games go on. So I expect them to take very similar drafts here. Forgiven likely going to go back to Lucian, locks it in. Bandit happy once again with the Zyra. H2K don't need to change something up. It's ANX that do, and maybe that's a Comfort Anivia. Maybe that's a crazy pick for the Crypt, but whatever it is, it needs to come up now.
Yeah, it looks like both teams are so confident in their drafts and marking down the losses up to, honestly, gameplay errors. And that's honestly an accurate assessment. Everything could have gone well for ANX if they just executed on their plays slightly better. However, it feels like they are outmatched individually across the board. Every single member from H2K is outperforming, outshining their counterpart on ANX.
Yeah, they certainly are. And just the fact that ANX has this confidence, it is something to respect. The fact that they are willing to go back to this, I get that. I understand it. Yes, you made mistakes, but I still just feel like even had they not made some of these mistakes, they would have just had a chance. They wouldn't have been ahead, right?
No.
H2K is winning by such monumental margins that it feels like you need to change something up, but they're not going to do it, at least just yet. Last chance is really going to be Kira trying to mix something up. And
Oh, I like this. H2K say, you know what? It's open. We're finally going to take it. Syndra, Lee Sin, as H2K do make some adjustments here. And if we are going to see a different pick, Kira with the last pick has to show it.
Yeah, it's honestly, it could be the Aurelion and Soul coming out, or yeah, it has to be the Soul, I imagine. Malzahar are a very poor matchup. Vladimir is a losing matchup.
Zillion apparently going pretty all in on the Olaf and Caitlyn, trying to get in and aggressive.
If you keep dying in the early game,
Solved it.
bring yourself back to life. You can die again. But for real, it's actually a pretty nice pick, especially in conjunction with the Olaf. You have the speed ups. You can send him in on these kind of suicide missions for the backline, especially for someone like Zyra, who's very susceptible to an Olaf.
Oh, definitely, and especially if you play with the jungler that has a really large damage share, which means he probably picks up quite a few bits of gold here and there and actually can snowball if they cater this composition around Steos. Tempered Fate goes in, Steos dies the backline, he gets tanky plus his base damages, gets revived again. That's the way they want to win. That's exactly what H2K want to avoid, but they have so much tools to just instantly blow up this Olaf. Not even once, just twice.
And it's been an interesting start to the series. H2K have come out guns blazing 2 games in a row. Oda Wamne has been the recipient of a lot of gifts in the early game with some kills, and he has done an excellent job snowballing them. We talked about Forgiven and Ryu being the guys that were going to make it work, and Ryu has kind of sat back and done his job along with Forgiven. Forgiven again will have to do that, but Ryu's definitely on a champion where he can make some waves. I want to see him have a big game as well.
Yeah, and he is going to be someone who can roam, and although Kira really has not made use of it on the Syndra yet, Ryu is someone I think can and will make use of it, especially because his side lanes are winning. His jungler has been more proactive, and working in conjunction with them, you can really take over, and that's something that's very, very scary if Syndra gets going.
He's also done this plenty of times in the past. He's very aware of how he can influence other lanes, especially with the style that Jankos is playing right now. Jankos not afraid to move into the enemy jungle. It gets much easier when you have mid lane priority. Priority meaning obviously the first right to push and the first right to roam.
Well, we'll have to see what happens here because they're onto the Rift for game number 3. H2K up 2-0, need to win one of the next 3 to advance to their semi-final date with Samsung Galaxy. Definitely tough, but they can't be thinking about it now. ANX, they're going to have to rattle off 3 straight if they want to continue what's been a miraculous run through the tournament.
There we go, group up, power in numbers. They get far though, so that's it. So I was like, okay. Bomb thrown back there by Kira. Things on a Ryu, say, yep, got that guy.
Still, worth a try, right? Look for something. Look to get that advantage that can kind of start to snowball the game.
And they didn't give up much either. There's no deep ward placed by Jankos or Oda Wamne, so in terms of the information war, H2K is on the exact same point as Albus NoX, except they gave a brush control bot, which is actually very, very big.
Yeah, and it looks like they actually want to go for the Gromp, so it could be a repeat of what we saw in the first game, where they give up that wave control, they get zoned off, and as a result, they're going to be the ones getting pushed in.
It hurts, man. If Forgiving can freely step out of this brush, The reason this is such a bad setup, and because it happened 3 times now, I'm actually going to dive into it a little bit more, is because Forgiven can step out of Brush Freeze, redirect the aggro from the minion wave, and he's basically going to deny ANX 1 or 2 creeps, and then they have to walk into lane and lose even more CS as they get poked out, you know, because this is where they step out. Look, he's going to bunch up the creeps. Once he gets the aggro, he's going to release the aggro. Now they're all going to focus on the first creep in the next wave. That one's going to die. Because they're taking Gromp, they're taking some damage. Because they want control of the push, they put these range creeps on very low HP so they can finish them off whenever they want. They're using the damage on the creep right now. 1 creep lost, and right now they push because they have complete control of the wave, so there is no poke, no range advantage for Caitlyn.
And it's just one of those little things that it matters so much here, and we saw ANX really put pressure on H2K in the bottom lane for the first time, and Forgiven and Vander play respectfully and will play back. This time, though, with that cam start, able to get a nice little advantage. And once again, Caitlyn, when she's not shoving, she's usually not doing too much.
Watch them attack the wave very early every time. They know if they get pushed in, it's so easy for Caitlyn Bar to punish you super hard. They got level 2 first, again, 6 creeps versus 3, complete control in the bot lane. All they need to do is dodge the Olaf gank.
Certainly do, and I think that they're going to be in a pretty good position to do that because it looked like there was pings coming up on that side. They're pretty well aware of where that Olaf is going to be.
Well, Steos again, actually looking over towards Jankos' side of the jungle. Good stun there onto Forgiven, actually, so damage is decent. So Bandit does get back in there. Zara, lots of damage as support. And looks like Jankos and Steos did have a bit of a meeting, but I think Jankos making sure he gets his Scuttle Crab could have a fight for it. Steos actually already popped his Ghost, but H2K are going to make sure he doesn't get involved and take that neutral away.
And that was very preemptive, especially because Ryu has the mid lane push. He can respond much more quickly than his opponent, and Steos has to respect that. And Kira's actually into trouble here.
It hurts a lot. Kira in trouble. Ryu needs one more. Can he land it up? There's the flash. There's the Q. Solo kill, first blood for Ryu.
Oh, couple minions! The potion! Always pop your potion early in the trades right there. Jankos right now can challenge Steos. He knows he has no Ghost. He can waste time. The more he reveals this Olaf.
Uh-oh, Forgiven. Shot, not enough. Q is there, but the heal saves his life.
Oh, I wonder if this was actually a plant that randomly spawned on top of a trap. That can happen, and it makes it very hard for you to spot Caitlyn traps, even if it's your own Zyra doing it with the RNG plants.
Worth noting, Jankos also got the red buff here. So just look at Kira. He's walking forward into this, taking so much damage.
Kira wants to flash the next Q, but Ryu's like, I don't even need to flash, bro. I can just keep autoing you very close there on the end, but because there's the potion ticking, it works. Still don't know what happened in the bot lane, but Forgiven walked in the trap. He had to yield all the pressure, but still has his flash available. So all in all, it's not the worst, but it's definitely just a minor misplay on the bot lane.
Going back, playing it nice and safe. Does have a Cole picked up once again as Vander is going to keep the wave at neutral. Liquid can't really stay here safely. Nice juke from Vander, gets his way out. And Miracle locked up again. Going to deny that back for as long as possible.
Jankos again taking over in jungle. He's 3-buffed his opponent now. That is definitely not the start that they wanted. Thankfully for them, they did at least have something going well in the bot lane because they need something to be able to play around it. In the top lane, Odoamne is already kind of taking over and getting that advantage for the 3rd straight game.
Yeah, and with doing that, Odoamne also gets security. If you can see your jungler challenge his opponent in his jungle, that means you can freely push up the top lane and you can really play towards your strengths on that Jace pick. Also, we need to look at what these junglers mean in terms of the composition. Jankos is a tool of engage and is basically there to support his team, while ANX have a composition that is kind of centered around speeding up Steos and having him wreck the backline, and he's already behind.
And one thing that is kind of scary about it, although Steos can run right through that Zyra, disengage and everything, Zyra, if he wants to play it well, you actually put the ultimate in the plants behind the Olaf.
Yeah.
You disengage the rest of the team, let the Olaf come in 1v5, and you kill that guy off.
And that's exactly why you need him to be strong ahead and tanky, so he can definitely kill one guy, then get revived by Zilean. But right now, quite grim here.
Oh, Liquid going in, tries to trigger Forgiven. Does a decent job as he polders his way out. Jankos continuing to play aggressive. Early Swifty boots once again. Means that Jankos wants to get nice and active both in his lanes and in his opponent's jungle. Steos is falling pretty significantly far behind in experience. Jankos is almost a level up once more.
Jankos has just really impressed me this whole series, honestly. He has been working so well with Odoamne and the rest of the team.
Level 6 power spike here. Kira not expecting it.
Oh, ulti, generally can't answer, and another solo kill for Ryu.
It's so grim here, Zilean. It's so easy to expect enemies to level up at the same moment as you in the mid lane, but obviously if you give them a kill earlier, it's completely unexpected here. Kira was not ready for that. Watch that again. He's like, okay, enemy's level 5. I'm getting some CS. Oh. Suddenly one creep's gonna die here, and then that's Ryu level 6, and suddenly it's all over.
Hero has no chance in this situation, and at this point, you just have to accept that. You have to wait till it gets pushed in. You're relegated to wave clear duty. He's putting himself so far behind as far as CS and the kills now. This Syndra is going to be able to walk around the map and one-shot anyone, including the Olaf.
Yeah, and Vander canceling those backs earlier made it so that the lane control again was in favor of H2K, and mostly due to base timings here, so they have control of bot lane again. If they want to jump on that point, though, Azale, that you made earlier for Jankos playing so well, it matters so much to them as well. This is the first time that this Polish duo, Jankos and Vander, make it to Worlds. They've been trying for so long, and when they do, they finally go off in week 2. They have a sweeping quarterfinal. It must feel so great for them to finally get the recognition that they feel they have deserved.
Well, team certainly playing great across the board here as Smurf down 20 CS and counting. Looks like Jankos is up to his old tricks again. Actually
Pretty critical that Smurf has dodged these last couple shock blasts because he's not softened up, and now a dive would be very dangerous. And Jankos, there was no creeps up here for him to pick up, and if they go for this dive, it could be a bit risky.
He's getting softened up now, though. One, they might look for the solo. Meganar's going to give him a bit of extra health. Ryu's rotated up as well, though.
And this is why Syndra is such a good early game pick. Ryu's doing what Kira could not. It's roaming.
Even go! Kicking it tagged there, and Oda just kills him. Ryu, no assist. Unlucky.
Nowhere for him to go at all. You asked the question, that's the answer. That guy was already dead. He got collapsed on from all sides. Once again, it's looking like they might get this first turret. And key to note, Ryu didn't have to expend anything, just a bit of his time. He still has his ult.
Yeah, he gets an advantage in the mid lane, leverage that advantage. Instead of looking for more aggression or chip damage, he just moves into the enemy jungle, translates that pressure into the top lane. Guess what? Another kill for Oruwamne, and the turret falls. He's sitting at 67 CS versus 36 right now.
Ooh, that's ugly. And solo gold, he gets the kill there as well. So he is just going to be getting so fast to this Ghost Blade, and it just feels like it's just on repeat. You know, it's a broken record. Same thing, all 3 matchups. They don't change it up. They cannot respond appropriately, and they cannot deal with Oruwamne in any way.
And the change is that Ryu, on a more aggressive champion where he can apply pressure, also has 2 kills. He's got them himself, though. And now as they're dueling with blue buffs, you can just see Ryu 10 CS ahead, has the Sork Shoes early, has the Lost Chapter built up already. Kira barely gets out of range of that stun.
It's actually a super fun matchup here, Zilean into Syndra, where it's all about sidesteps. You gotta get close to the creep so he can throw his bomb out, but not close enough that it explodes. You gotta sidestep these spheres. The harass patterns is basically going for creeps and the enemy at the same time, because otherwise you lose the push. But Ryu definitely mastering that Syndra, making us wonder why he did not pick it earlier.
Maybe showing that he didn't need it, but is starting to kind of roam again, get that push going. This is kind of what we expected from Kira, but that he couldn't quite convert on with his Syndra. And if he continues to go top lane, Jankos won't need to help Oruwamne out. Ryu can do it himself. All we've seen already, 3v1 or 3vx dives also work when H2K already have a big early game pressure point.
They have worked, and it seems like everything works for H2K, but for ANX, their next play needs to work, right?
Yeah.
When you're at this point, you have to choose your point of attack, and you have to commit to it, and you have to have something kind of go well.
And then we can start looking, what could that play be? Perhaps it's a double teleport bot lane with a full Rage Bar Gnar, rather, into a teleport, Tempered Fate into Trap, which is a perfect setup. You can always do it for Zyra, Stunner, right there, potentially. That could have been the ulting into the Trap.
They're going for it. Vander going to get Tempered Fated up here. Forgiven, keeping them out with the calling. Vander gets it, roots out onto Miracle, and that's going to force Liquid to flash. Forgiven goes in for it, and Vander's slow, but the Stranglethorns barely going to miss the knock-up. Here come the TPs, though.
Why are they so late? Where are these teleports? Tempered Fate, Q, Trap, all done, and then no teleports.
Oh, Jankos.
Jankos is here, and there's no TP to respond now.
Jankos has his flash as well. He's going to clear out the ward, and that's going to force ANX's dual lane off of the bottom outer turret. I mean, ANX can't stay because they'll die, but they don't want to lose this turret either.
I've got to say, Liquid should have used his exhaust in that fight. The fact that Forgiven was uninhibited, was able to go forward, get so much damage down, exhausted.
Salos goes in, looking for someone. Ulti's on the Vander, going to crush down the Zyra. Looking for it, does get the kill. And that Forgiven caught out, gets exhausted, ace in the hole. There's the play for ANX.
They needed to make a play, and they finally execute. They pick up 2 kills in the bot lane. The Olaf starting to get strong, just like you said he needed to, Crepo.
Yeah, he gets those kills. That's super important that he gets at least one of them here. Counterplay potentially from Jankos. Can kick Kira in.
Oh,
And watch out.
Kira kicked in there, gonna get stunned, but not long enough. Ultimate will proc here, but the follow-up's there. Kira flashes out of the way, stuns a whisper out of one. He says no as Ryu gets his 3rd kill on Kira in the game.
And suddenly that's a perfect trade here for H2K. They lose 2 in the bot lane, but they get an Infernal Dragon and a kill in the mid lane. They're so happy with this because they can keep controlling the map. They're constantly in control of the tempo. ANX is forced to play super reactive, and Smurf was Mega Gnar, had teleport, never present. Let's look right now. This is the second play, so this definitely doesn't need a teleport. I really wonder if Smurf was in cancel range of Odoamne, and that's why he was maybe not teleporting in earlier. The exhaust finally comes out. Azale's happy.
Yeah, am I though? He was already dead, so I think I'm a little bit unhappy with that one still. Hard to please, Crepo.
Ryu continuing to shove in. He's got a big back, you have to think, with these 3 early kills and those components of the Morellonomicon already done. You can see 1,200 gold now ready, so he should have that first major item, and there it is. Ghostblade done for Odoamne as well, and Forgiven is going nice and aggressive on his build with a Ghostblade of his own coming up. Meanwhile, on the other side, kind of components for Miracle, but that's where he wants to be. Just a giant spell for Smurf, and a Rod of Ages not done yet for Kira. H2K once again with a huge lead.
Yeah, huge lead, but there's still teleport advantage on Smurf. He could build up his rage. Tempered Fade into Trap is enough time for, honestly, teleport to land. Even if it's not in a deep ward location, there are only 1 flash available, actually, for Forgiven. I was going to say no flashes. Forgiven still has his.
But I'd like to see them continue to pick on this Zyra. You don't have to kill off Forgiven. He's the big prize, but kill off the summonerless Zyra. This guy is so squishy. You have PvP stay host with his ult. You have Smurf with his TP. I think that's where you need to continue to attack.
What they're doing right here. Look at the wards they're sweeping there. They want to go for another portal play, but it's so hard to do it into Zyra. You want to send in Olaf first, wait as the Bard, but looks like Vander and Forgiven have learned their lesson. They're adapting, which means Jankos just goes mid.
Got the answer. Flash kick again. There's the stun. Kira gonna die in the combo.
Has the ultimate, just can't use it. Perfect CC because ANX is so tunneled on this bot lane. They're going in right now. Is H2K ready to react? Yes, they are.
Tempered Fate finds Vander. Does get the Thorns in, but now Forgiving gonna keep them out of the way. Vander stunned into the wall. The Exhausted down, but it's not enough. Licorice gets one, but they will not dive it.
At least they get that return kill. You know, they did lose their mid laner, though, and they lost mid lane turret. Now the tier 2 is getting worked away on. H2K always taking the better trade.
Yeah, they trade better because Vander, yes, he dies, but he spots the gank for 1. He loses his life, but essentially it's a base cancel for his own life, which means another tier 2 turret. H2K, because they play their style so well, leave you with almost no right choice. Is choosing the lesser of evils at this point for ANX.
Forgiven playing very aggressive to try and take some CS here. Licrit could have a good line for a stun. The turret's getting low, but H2K again another rotation. Gonna join Odoamne and take another tier 2. ANX traded 1 turret for 2, and those 2 were tier 2 turrets.
Did they get the mid lane tier 1 as well?
Yes, actually they did.
So it was actually 3 turrets there and the kill. 0-4 and 0 for Kira. He's having a bad time as when you lose control of that mid lane, it's so easy to set up these flanks, and Jankos has done it beautifully.
Yeah, especially when H2K, they're using the information that they have on the map. There's pressure against them bot lane. Jankos, instead of going into maybe like, let's help you out position, he just tells his bot lane guys, chill. I'm just going to go mid, kick him out, get the turret, and they're playing around their strengths. They're hiding their weaknesses. Very refined gameplay here from H2K.
Well, Ryu going to get himself a blue buff, so he's going to continue having the hype train roll forward for him. Odoamne again, a bit quieter this time, but still more than capable of pressuring a side lane. Constantly looks like he's currently bottom side.
Yeah, and Ryu, the fact that he found these kills in the most crucial phase of the matchup, 3-6 Zillion, doesn't have to revive. The whole reason it's a good matchup sometimes is because you can at least lane even and you can dodge the all-ins. But every time Kira's died afterwards, he's been kicked so far up that they can just kill him again.
It also means that the one kind of strong point right now for ANX, which is really kind of their Caitlyn, at least he's doing pretty well, 1-0-1. You'd hope he could get something done. But how does he survive against a 4-0 Syndra? This guy can just press R on you at the start of every fight.
He doesn't. That's the problem.
We solved it. Good to have answers to questions.
Check that box. Analysis complete.
Forgiving getting let's see as he can in the mid lane. Phage up for Odoamne means that Black Cleaver is once again going to be coming up nice and quickly, and the Rylai's on the way for Ryu, who already has the big part of it that he needs to blow up that pole Caitlyn.
Yeah, we saw Vander base here, pick up the Moby Boots and the Sidestone, and we already know where that vision's going.
Yeah, and I think that they can start to set up around the Dragon once again if they want to go there. They have actually showed that they like to get Rift Herald quite a bit too. That's 2 games in a row they got it for Odoamne, so I think they have some options. We'll see though, as they are closing in on this bot lane tier 2. It's the last one left on the map, and I think that's where they really want to strike first.
And we can already see 1 ward, 2 wards, just choking out the vision, forcing them backwards. Jankos, a lot of wards to jump to as well. They're closely put around the walls, giving him a lot of options of escape. Forgiven switch to mid lane. Look at it. Dragon's Feet for the taking in 40 seconds. They have the dive potential on bot lane. Tempered Fate can come out, however.
Good poke also. Oh, the crit is going in for the play, but he gets stunned immediately, and Ryu blows into pieces. Stayhouse chasing down the carries. The Miracle's doing what he can, but the ulti's out onto Ola. That should be enough for the killers. Ryu grabs the double. Now Flash out of the roots from a Miracle, who's going to get a bit of time in the bottom from Kira, but this turret is going to mount. They might chase for more. Odo, he really wants it, but they'll take what they can instead.
And where H2K is reading the map, parsing through all the information, ANX is doing the absolute opposite, complete tunnel vision. Join, basically just watching your screen, nothing on the minimap.
Oh no, Jankos in again, kicks him forward. Kira does get the ulti off, but there's the culling down. Kira forced to fat flash over the wall, but H2K is still going.
Because Liquid goes blind, he sees nobody in the top lane. He must know that they H2K.
He got him over the wall.
Tempered Fate's gonna miss, but what a snipe there from Kira. TP down from ANX. They're gonna try and salvage something.
Why didn't he TP in below them? Look at that ward.
I don't know what to tell you.
But here he goes.
With the kill, slows on Tiangos with the boomerang. Liquid, see ya later, is forgiven, takes him down. More kills forthcoming, and Smurf now has to run out of the way of the rest of H2K. Ryu, he's got his flash, he's got his ultimate almost up as well, but Smurf's gonna get away this time.
So it was actually a blue trinket there, and that is why.
Why are you hitting a Smurf?
Fair enough.
He only
fair
used
enough.
TP for the first time at 70 minutes in the game. Okay, he couldn't TP on that ward as Dale, but he could definitely have TP'd much earlier in any of the fights.
Yeah.
If you are the aggressor, you need your top laner to join the fray. Liquid goes in, completely blind, boom, splatter, goes down. At least Stales doesn't need too much of the damage.
Yeah, and this is the thing, when Ryu gets this strong, this is what I talked about. You can just dump your ultimate on the Olaf. It doesn't matter. The guy can't survive. He has almost no MR at this point and just gets completely erased.
And there's the Rylai's done now for Ryu. We've got 2 Ghost Blades on the side of H2K, and I think 2 Black Cleavers also almost finished for the AD carries in Oda and Forgiven. The amount of strength H2K have right now is immense, and it's reflected once again in a ridiculous gold lead. 7,000 gold and counting, 18 minutes in. We talked about a lot of these things feeling like deja vu with Oda back on Jason, H2K getting early leads. Well, we're here once again in game number 3.
And I think they just want to crack this last outer turret here. They're kind of looking around, and they may catch Stejos.
Oop, no, not this time. Caught sleeping, but does ulti out of Ryu's stun. Still getting slowed down, though. Kira is there to save him if he wants to. There's a bomb on his head, but not needed. Ryu barely not enough to kill him.
Yeah, friendly fire turned off, luckily for Stejos. He would need that revive right there. The trap's being put up. Jankos is back. Jankos?
Follow Kira again. Oh, he ultis himself, but he's going to take the turret. Jankos going to auto it down.
Nice
Does
ulti
get it.
Liquid.
And now Kira has to run out of the way. Culling is in, but Jankos stunned into the wall as Kira gets another snipe.
Very good turnaround there from ANX. Crit plays it beautifully, lands a big ultimate, giving Kira the time both to disengage and a miracle time to set up his traps.
But still, it's only a kill for a tower, and that's what ANX is doing. They're looking for scraps left and right of minor overreachings of H2K. You see the highlights of some of the beautiful things in their composition, rather. They have the Barzillion combo. You can actually place those bombs, and they will instant trigger after the ultimate. But because ANX falls so far behind in the early game, they could never actually aggressively start using that. That could have been a counter to Sinfa in the mid game.
Ooh, I love this. Nice late Rift Herald from... Oh, actually, ANX, hello. Not the team I expected to be in the pit, but that'll be nice for them. Who's going to get it? Might be Stales, it could be Smurf, but it's going to last for a while, and Smurf does receive the buff. So, nice little steal there from Albus NoX Luna.
And you talked about it, Crepo, they're fighting for scraps, and this is just something that they could get, something that they could sneak, and I think it was well done. So Jankos, kick, flash, Kane on Kira, kind of baiting them into a false sense of security almost as he moved back towards the turret, but then Liquid, good turnaround here. The trap gets dropped under Jankos, they take him out.
Yeah, Jankos was the war sack right there. He was not trapped in with them, they were trapped in with him.
Credit to Jankos as well. He flashed the Cosmic Binding, I believe, so got all the mechanics on Lee Sin as he has been showing up in this series, but Baron's up again. H2K might try and sneak it, or Stales has to check it.
That's no flash on Olaf, he can only run away from the
Liquid
damage.
locked up, there's the stun. That should be a kill, and it's easy with no ultis. Kira does save his support's life.
Ryu saved his ulti there, so they could look to fight again before Kira has his ultimate back, or at least get some major pressure.
And if you finish people off right now, their corpse will fly. I think we changed that a while ago. It's actually good for Zillion comps. Back in the day, I think the corpse would stay where you finished him, so at least that helps ANX.
Jankos getting himself the grump as Ryu just charging up some spheres here in this brush and waiting for a customer. I'm not sure Stales is buying what they're selling, but he's kind of forced to check because, again, blind in the pit, and oh no.
He's got no ulti.
No ulti, that's bad news. Isn't gonna burn the ult. No, he does. Is that enough? It's not quite. Stejos lives through another barrage.
It's enough to get him away from the Baron, however. He's on 20%. They have plans to tank it. They have a lot of damage. H2K could commit, but they're just going to keep baiting and baiting and baiting.
Has to face check, and he almost goes down this time. Ryu does not have blue buff, but he can do this for a while.
Yeah, that should be the trigger for H2K moving up. They can have Ryu just as ranged artillery right here. Odo, I'm going to find Smurf. They're happy with this.
I'm not sure Smurf wants it. Odo's like, I think there's someone else here. He does know that Kira's there, but the Frozen Mallet could maybe spell Odo Ono's death. Nice flash, but Smurf follow flashes over. Thundering blow back, and Kira can't quite lock him down. Acceleration Gate's going to keep it all going, but Smurf delivers the killing blow. Liquid's dead on H2K start Baron.
TP from
Smurf, though. Does cancel it, and H2K say, okay, that's enough. We give up this time.
I was so ready for Albus NoX Luna TP and finish off the Nashor, but it would have been 3v4.
It's going to take the pink ward down instead. It's the little victories right now for Albus NoX Luna. The crowd still behind them.
Still so much belief in this team that has made history here at Worlds.
Yeah.
Never before has someone from the LCL or any of the international wildcard regions made it to the quarterfinals, and they did it in incredible fashion.
And the fact that this is the 3-0 sweep takes nothing away from their performance in groups. They went above and beyond, and then even more, taking a game of tournament favorites in super, honestly, fun fashion too. They made League of Legends fun again.
They did. And it's not a sweep yet, but you can kind of see why you'd say it, because it's getting awfully close once more. H2K close to up 10,000 gold once more. This game will not be as fast as the last one, unless something absolutely silly happens. But H2K, they're going to go back to Baron. Odo, bottom lane again, does have the teleport so strong in the 1v1, and H2K, this should be straightforward now.
Yeah, and with Smurf not having his TP, Odo Omne just needs to sit bot lane, push this in, wait for someone to respond, then they can look to make a play.
Oh, they're making a play instead. Steos going to get caught. Jankos follows him in, but Steos going to pop the ultimate and keep himself safe.
Albus NoX are looking for a hard commit here. This could have been the window, or at least forcing Odo's teleport. Again, they want to look for Tempered Fate into the bomb combo. That's their saving grace right now. Insta one-shot Ryu before he can deal any damage.
That was really their one window of opportunity, though.
Looking again, they find Jankos only, who's got GA. There's the bomb combo, but he actually goes out of it! Miracle gets kicked over a wall, but Steos with no ult, he's going to get caught down, forgiven. Switching on to Smurf as Ryu commits the ultimate. Kira does ult one as a Miracle now getting aggressed on by Jankos. GA pass for Steos, he's back again as Vander gets locked down by a stun, and no one's there, but H2K get crucial cooldowns.
Good ideas, bad execution. It's the story of this game so far in quarterfinals.
Yeah, I actually think that H2K didn't have to go for that fight. They could have just backed off after the ultimate was on Jankos, let Odo Omne continue pushing because they had the side lane TP advantage. Instead, they go for the fight. Not able to really get much out of it.
Steos caught with no ultimate, but it does feel like Jankos is kind of trying to make a montage. Here he is again, looks for Miracle, that's going to force a flash. Follow flashes 1v3. He's got the GA, but this man's insane. Liquid over the wall gets stunned in by Ryu, and that's enough damage for Given. Claims another life.
Yeah, Jankos, they're still looking for a few more abilities. They were all in cooldown. One more hit wasn't enough. Has GA though. Kills the enemy support. H2K, very low HP, considering a stab at Baron Nashor, but Kira with one double bomb could spell doom.
It could, but I mean, chunking them out, forcing them back to base once again does always have that risk of the Baron. I think this is smart for H2K. They take the scuttle before they reset, denying that from ANX, allowing them to continue to bait Baron.
And they leave a ward in the pit. Very important when you play against the Bard, because they've already shown that they could kind of backdoor the Rift Herald. That's definitely the way ANX want to win this game. They kill the ward, leave the Scuttle Crab up, and then just portal in from behind. But I think H2K is experienced enough with ANX, especially since they scrimmed them as well, currently in Week 2.
Well, you can see that Cloud Drake will go over to ANX. Actually got one in and amongst all the early game action, so they'll get a second here. It's not the Infernal that H2K have, but it is at least good to take these over and get a bit of bonus stats for yourself. H2K, though, they've gone back. They're starting to get towards those third items. BF Sword for Forgiven, Void Stuff done for Ryu. Like, these power points are just getting harder and harder for Albus NoX Luna.
They certainly are, but you know, as Albus NoX Luna, you got to take what you can get. Getting those Wind Dragons means that if it eventually gets that late game stage and you get an Elder, then you have the extra true damage burn, and you're denying that from H2K. So they have to fight tooth and nail for every little thing that they can take.
Yeah, no flash on Ryu. He can pop the Ghost, which means Liquid will have to be roughly in like 1.5, 2 screens away. Otherwise, it's too easy to sidestep that ultimate. Keep your eyes on Liquid and Steos, because they could portal in, get an axe to the ulti, and then the follow-up. That's what they want to look for.
And everyone is just a little too squishy You can see that Olaf barely any MR, and Ryu already has 3 items, with one of them being Void.
Yep, and having that Void, you know all those times PvP Stayhouse barely live? And guess what? He dies now. So that is where it gets super, super scary for him because these tanks are now so vulnerable.
And again, the setup for H2K, Odo bottom side, almost level 16, as that Bloodthirster third will come out again.
Yeah, comfort in numbers for ANX. They work around their weak teleports by just moving their top laner with their team, but obviously can't siege, so they're looking for a pick. They're honestly waiting for H2K to overcommit somewhere. Prime target is Ryu, but they'll settle for anything.
Odo actually going to back off, knows that he doesn't want to play too aggressively. There are 2 members currently looking down the river, but Smurf's just going to join in 1v1, and Odo, again, playing safe, as H2K know that the longer this goes, the better, the easier the Baron's going to be.
Has to be careful, though. There could have been a portal down bot lane, but ANX don't want to commit 2 to catch Odo, because they'll lose the Baron Asher. But there are a lot of long-distance portals available to catch Odo on the out in the bot lane.
There certainly are, but unless 2 people come, there's not much chance for Smurf, because Smurf is having to build MR to not just instantly die to Ryu. And guess what? Odoamne just builds purely for this 1v1. Look at his itemization. He doesn't need to do that. And there's so little real armor on Smurf, he's going to get shredded by Odoamne.
H2K taking it slow. They know the only way they lose this game is if they hand the Baron Asher over to ANX. Theos half HP already without the usage of the ultimate. Ryu can just one-shot him, and that's the threat right there. Olaf has to walk around as well. Remember, no flash on him.
And as Ailey pointed it out, that Void stuff that they saw as Tempered Fate's going to rush in and stop the Baron attempt. Ryu looking for a stun, finds the crit, but might just ulti someone down here. Yankov kicks Kira back in again, but he ultis himself this time as the TP's coming in for H2K's top laner. Odo going to join, but he cancels. Going to keep pushing down, but Kira just goes down. He revived, but it wasn't enough, as he did come back up, and H2K take him down again.
And Odoamne can just keep pushing. Smurf needs to respond here, and if he shows over there, they can just start this bait once again. Working on the turret already here. Now Smurf shows. Odoamne looks to back off. They need to turn and fight.
Goes play pop. Odo knows he has to stand his ground, but he's going to try and cut it out. Shock blast in. Odoamne with a big bit of damage as Yankov going to try and save him. Smurf insta-flashes, and Odoamne lives.
And just look at how one-sided that fight was, considering Odoamne was tanking the turret. He wasn't returning fire for all this time because he was giving the respect that there could be a second ANX player. He still almost wins the 1v1.
All right, but ANX, they fight their way out of a situation where H2K could have technically won 100% of the time if they executed perfectly. It's always hard to judge. It's nitpicking, but at this point with a 10,000 gold lead, that's what we need to look at. H2K not closing out as cleanly, but it's always so hard to tell. They're so far ahead. They have the window to play a more casual style here, playing honestly like 5% plays. If there's any chance of it going wrong, H2K is just resetting the map because eventually they can get the 100% play.
They're one game from the semifinals. You want it to be that 100% play like you talked about. They want to be the ones to represent Europe in the semifinals. They had received a lot of criticism. People had not put any faith in this team. It was all about G2, and H2K disproved so many of the critics and have had such a successful tournament.
Well, at this point, Ryu's level 15. He's 1 level away from rank 3 ultimate, and I'm just waiting for him to completely melt somebody. A 4th item's going to be on the way soon. He's had an insanely good game on the Syndra, and you can see the total damage he's done. 20,000 already. He's like, you add up all of ANX, and he's almost done more than all of them.
Yeah, you combine the 80 carry, the jungler, and the top laner, and Ryu will match that for you. Doubling his direct lane opponent here. What a driving force. And honestly, he is the player that balanced out H2K. When Ryu performs, this entire style fits together. Odoamne can switch to carries. Forgiven can play his favorite style. Good sidestep again here. ANX grasping at straws. They really want to find that one opening.
Oh, Yankas, he went in! He wants Miracle again! He's trying to make a highlight reel, but he's going to kick Stayos back out instead. Doesn't lose his GA though, but PvP Stayos pops the ultimate, rushes forward, Forgiven keeps him away.
Oh, a great stalling tour here. The Zillion, just threat of the ulti means that Jankos has to prioritize the Zillion himself, and Kira was completely aware of it.
He was, but Kira has to build that flash. Stayos with his ulti down as well. So H2K has the advantage on those cooldowns. Ryu, though, getting chunked out, needs to be careful here.
Bomb damage there as well. That's actually taking him quite low. So Ryu, maybe just look to base here, shed a lot of XP so the ulti's not there. And ANX have done a nice job in bottom lane.
They really have. They prepped that wave, and that is actually getting pushed in. That's not something that should happen
Here we go.
to H2K when they're this far ahead.
Odo?
Oh, they're going to look for the dive.
True, he's safe. Kira going to look for the double bomb, doesn't land it. Odo takes his way up with the nice slow there as the rest of the team's in. Smurf pulls back in a mini, but it's enough to slow him down with a frozen mallet. They'll chase down Odo one day. They will get themselves a kill. Smurf collects his top lane opponent.
But Yank goes straight onto that Baron. They're going to try to force it. Lecrit has his ultimate soon, so he could look to delay.
Ooh.
But it looks like ANX just wants to try to push for the inhibitor.
Ryu went for Ghost Flash to cancel the teleport on Kira, which means Liquid is the only person defending this, and as much as I love Bard, I don't think he's able to do this.
Smurf going to try and do this here, but he's got no Nama. Lecrit going to do as best he can. Smurf going to speed his way over.
They can do this, maybe.
Speed him up. Vander getting a little low. The Baron still taking damage. Smurf on forward, but he gets exhausted. H2K.
He's on the Mega.
Liquid takes him down. Smurf Mega's in. Gets Yankos, but the GA is still there. H2K, though, have to stop Baron.
They stopped them, and they're on the inhibitor.
God.
This is incredible from ANX. Smurf and Lecrit delay them. They're stopping the bases. Yes, Lecrit traded his life, but it is more than worthwhile as they take the inhibitor, and ANX, the miracle workers,
And
somehow pull around out that.
And H2K say, you know what, we got to take this Baron because we just can't let that inhibitor go down. But if they make it back, H2K are in so much trouble.
And that's the sad part of this entire exchange. It looks so good, but in the end, the Baron still goes to H2K. So sloppy, though. They need to short this up. This has been one of the main flaws of this team, that they couldn't play the map on like 2-3 places at once. They did it so beautifully in the early game, but it all fell apart later on. Props to Ryu for canceling that teleport, at least else it could have been a Baron handover to ANX, but still sloppy.
Yeah, it is. And although, yes, H2K got the Baron, this is ANX making something happen over 10,000 gold behind, and they are able to take out Ryu, full commitment to it. Just honestly incredible play from ANX, I think, in this situation.
Yeah, definitely. They made the only right choices they could have made. H2K just left the window for it. And they get rewarded with another beautiful Cloud Dragon.
Gotta go fast, Crebo.
I mean, that's going to be a real fast all-out.
Yeah.
Or Nah speeding in with triple Cloud Drake plus Zillion. Like, if ANX are worried about how to start these fights and get in, they have every tool now to get in.
All right, this is where we need to look at the waves here. Because with this Baron on H2K, there is the play. We all know what's going to happen. It's Liquid is going to look for the Tempered Fate. There's no summoners on Ryu, even though the Wildney is flashes right now. So for H2K, they need to spread their resources out. They're going to divide and conquer, 1-3-1 in any formation possible. They want to hit all the lanes so they can break apart this team comp that relies on each other from Albus NoX Luna, because they need to work together. So if you split them up, that's the way in for H2K.
Exactly, and Albus NoX Luna must nail this engage. They have to have the perfect one, because if you fail against the 1-3-1 with the Baron buff, your base is going to collapse in the game, and their hopes in this tournament will end. So ANX needs to pull the trigger, but they need to make sure they do it at the perfect time.
Yeah, and they need to do it early as well, because if you engage too late, they're just going to cross-map you. You engage mid, well, they'll take side lanes. Jankos definitely wants to stay close to his team, though. H2K not buying into the split hype. They're grouping up here.
They got Ryu. No summoners.
Looking for it again. Double bomb setup there. Stone's going to land in as well. Stale going to try and chase him over. Forgiven just takes out Lecrit. Kira moves forward there, but Ryu's down. Revive there onto the Zillion. H2K going to camp his spawn, and Kira is going to go down again. H2K 3v1, 3 up. 3v1 right now in that team fight, looking to break.
Yeah, 30 spawn campers. It was close. It was a nice try to double bomb. Ryu just didn't drop in like instantly, so he got the return damage. It looked pretty for a while, but still H2K, they get the inhibitor.
It's just not enough, and they can get more than the inhibitor. They could actually go for the game potentially here with 40 seconds almost still on Kira. They have the ability to look for the dive and try to end the game. Punch their ticket to the semifinals.
They're going to push through and do what they can. These turrets are melting as H2K look to punch their ticket in the corners. There's another killer. Smurf's going to go down. H2K as Odo going to get himself killed. A Miracle will collect one, but the Nexus is open. Forgiven, he's been exhausted. They're going to try something here, but Forgiven, they'll cut it out, and H2K demolish ANX for their semi-final match versus Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah, fantastic performance. But you know, Jankos, he says it himself, like, yeah, still counts.
Yeah.
A blemish at the end of the game, but in the end, if you would have asked H2K, do you want to go to semifinals after sweeping your quarterfinals 3-0 in very short games, they would have said yes, a resounding yes, and they can be happy.
Of course, I mean, these guys
Gotta work on the high five mechanics.
they gotta work on the high five mechanics.
There we go,
Hey!
nailed it.
I mean,
That's the mark of a great team, being able to improve.
Being able to high five.
Being able to improve on the spot, you know, make a mistake once, improve your high five mechanics right after.
well, things may have got a little dicey on the Baron front, but very few mistakes that were obvious there for H2K. Very clean games, incredible performance, and maybe more surprising anything than a semi-final. But is there 7-0 in their last matches at Worlds?
It's how dominant they have looked to get there, but I want to take a moment to give credit to the team that we are saying goodbye to. Albus NoX Luna made history here at Worlds. Very deserving.
Unfortunately, the history ends here for them. They'll exit with the quarterfinals, and H2K, the last Western hope, are going to push forward to play Samsung Galaxy. So much pressure riding on this team, but the expectations that people didn't have for them moving into this tournament have all been quelled. They are looking on fire.
And you've got to say, this is the kind of performance that they needed to show for people to have hope for them against Samsung, right? They need to be on a tear. 7 straight wins. Can they put up a performance that could take down Samsung? That's going to be the question on everyone's mind.
Yeah, and it's going to be a beautiful juxtaposition as well as they're readying up for the chant right here.
H2K, 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 H2K.
Samsung so much about that late game, criticized often for their early game, to your point. And H2K have just been dominating all their lanes. If they could get those big advantages against Samsung, maybe they don't get the chance to actually get to their perfect lane.
For H2K, you got to choke them out. You got to hit them early. You know, you got to pick these strong picks. No more early or Vladimir's into Syndras. Get the priority on that Syndra. ANX have revealed a little bit information of H2K and pick and ban here. Some of their trends. Let's see if their champ pools are big enough here. The Jace will definitely be a big